So Dax,
Sigh.
how's your day?
Oh, it's been fantastic, man. I got that video dropped earlier, and I mean, Oda's been cooking lately, and I'm glad that I finally, get to talk to you about something other than what I've been focusing on that video on for so long. So I'm doing
Yeah,
great. How you doing?
it's cool, man. Like, you know, I'm doing pretty good. It's a good morning, early morning actually. We're recording this at the bright and early time of 11 a.m.
That is early for some people.
Yeah, for some people, for night owls. But yeah,
Yep.
no, I'm doing good, man.
Like
These
us.
last few chapters have been solid. Big fan of the Gorosei. I love watching them perform well, perform badly. It's like keeping up with like a soccer team, you know. Like I'm
It is.
following these guys through their ups and downs right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch the NBA playoffs at all, which I'm a huge NBA fan, but that's going on right now, and there's been a lot of ups and downs, and that's how I feel about the Gorosei, because like some teams, like one night everyone's like, oh, they're going to be unbeatable, they're going to the finals for sure, and then they lose the next night by 20, and it's like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
And that's exactly how the Gorosei are. One page, you're like, oh, no one, how are we even going to beat them? And then the next page, it's like, okay, are they just straight up incompetent, or like what's going on?
Yeah,
So,
I remember seeing Saturn like crawl up to the Labo face. I was like, holy crap, the Straw Hats are cooked, you know? Nami, no! And then we go to the next chapter, and then they're just kind of like, not no diffing him, but they're like slap boxing him, you know? They're hitting him with all the attacks. He can't really do much. He hasn't landed a single blow on them. It's like, damn, dude, okay.
well, he
That's
did land a
crazy.
blow on Chopper, kind of, but Chopper just apparently doesn't get poisoned. I guess his medical expertise has just it's like Luffy now, he doesn't get poisoned. You know what I mean? He's practiced so many anti-poisons now or whatever that he can just apparently avoid it.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird? Like, not weird, but Saturn seemingly steps on Chopper like 4 or 5 times, and he hasn't been able to pierce him or draw blood. But he just walks over Vegapunk, and Vegapunk's dead. It's like a fatal wound. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's not like a thrust, but still, that's crazy.
It's just whenever we saw the poison introduced for the first time, it like melted a tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like instantly melted a tree, and then Chopper's just over there just like getting donutted over and over, but like nothing's happening at all. And like you said, Vegapunk's just dead immediately. So I don't know, man. Oda's doing whatever he feels like with the Gorosei right now.
And then Warkudy's my favorite because Luffy hits him with like a red rock, and then he goes into Gear 5th and hits him with what seems to be like a giant pistol. And then
Yep.
while Warkudy takes no damage, he also doesn't flex well. Cause like he just stands there and he doesn't say a single word. It's like a brick wall. Like quite literally.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued, like to find out what's going on there, because like when Luffy hit Mercury the first time in Gear 3rd with Red Rock, I took that as just like he needs Gear 5th to fight these guys. Like he's not strong enough with his other gears anymore. You know what I mean? Like these guys are next level.
Oh, yeah.
They need to be like turned to rubber with the awakening in order to be hurt or something. But then in this latest chapter, we see that Luffy punches him in Gear 5th, and it still like makes his hand throb. So I'm like, what? Like I just don't know what's happening. You know what I mean?
And that's fresh off the heels of Warkudy needing to regenerate from being hit with Saturn's bombs. Or Saturn, Jupiter, and Warkudy, they had to start regenerating all in the same panel. It's like, dude, like how strong are these bombs compared to Luffy's Gear 5th? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Some
and weren't
crazy
those-
shenanigans.
Wait, and weren't those bombs like the poison that we were just talking about? And like,
Yes.
so going back to
yes.
how that didn't hurt Chopper, but it hurts it hurts Mercury and makes him regenerate. Like Oda's having his fun, I guess.
Yeah.
He's doing whatever he feels like right now.
It's like you say, it's like an NBA game. You never know what you're gonna get here.
Exactly. And didn't Mercury get like smashed by the Giants earlier too, or something?
Yes, he got blocked by the Giants, and then they hit him with Sun Shield.
Yeah, I mean, from losing to Mr. 3 to this, I don't know. Yeah, I just looked for the panels back in 11:11. Yeah, with Split Skylda or whatever. Yeah, I mean, how does that, do some damage? I guess.
No, wait, you're so right. Wait, Gear 5th didn't budge this guy. Red Rock didn't budge him, but you're telling me Dory and Brogy together, like just not a basic attack, but like a named attack from them will just send him flying back? That's crazy.
I mean, it's not even like an offensive attack. I mean, it is, but they're using shields.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like like Sun Shields,
Wow.
Svalin, Split Skylda was the full name of the attack. Yeah, they just
Cool
blocked
name.
him and rejected him, and that did more damage apparently than Gear 5th.
Yeah, do you think, yeah, and Dorian Brogy, they didn't like start holding their hands like, God, my hand hurts, you know, my shield's broken. No, wow.
No.
Dang,
Nope.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they're like, Warcury's like, do you have any idea who that man is? And they're like, he's our buddy, and they just reject him. It's like, dude, like they're not even like stressed. You know what I mean? They're just chilling. Like they just block it like it's nothing.
And then the Luffy we see at the end of 11-14, this is Luffy who has like a little bit of a grudge, you know, he just wants to hurt this guy.
Yeah. In 11-11, I just saw that before Warcury did that attack, his like the way that Oda drew it is he gave Warcury like the like, you know how whenever Luffy runs in Gear 5th, it's like a cartoon thing, like the feet are like spinning in circles, you know what I mean? Like a old Hanna-Barbera cartoon or whatever. Well, Topman does the same thing. His feet are like wheels because he's running so fast before he does it. And Dorian Brogy still block it and reject him, but yeah, Gear 5th.
Oh, I see that. He does have like the, you know, the Wile E. Coyote circles going on.
Yeah, so he's going super fast. And you can even see this like the little spark thing, I don't know what to call it, but like by Dorian Brogy in that same panel with the circles.
Yeah.
It makes me think that they're like predicting the attack, like using observation hockey to like sense it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man, Warcury just got owned by the Giants. That's Mr. 3, man. Mr. 3 stocks way up.
If Mr. 3 comes back, I'm expecting these level feats. I mean, the guy never really stopped training, right? Like during the 2-year time skip, he became a warlord, or he didn't become a warlord. Yeah. He worked with the warlord, you know, he met a bunch of different pirates. He met Harudin. Like, I think Mr. 3 could be cooking. I'm excited for him.
I think so too, man. Mr. 3 is like the ultimate utility man also. You know what I mean? Like with the keys and the thing like against Magellan and Impel Down. So, you know, you give him a couple years of training, maybe a fruit awakening, because it's a Paramecia, so he could turn things to wax. So just think about that. So
the wax statue ability would go hard here. Like, imagine Warcury attacks. Like, imagine if Mr. 3 were here, right? Warcury would run into Luffy, you know, demolish him, and then he looks down, and it's just a wax statue. And then Mr. 3's like, oh, what a dumb boar. And then just, I don't know, attacks him with wax.
I would love that.
Yeah, be so good.
I would love that.
Oh, I need Mr. 3 to show out, man. I'm making a cross-guild smoker video. And I kind of regret the fact now that I didn't really talk about Mr. 3 at all.
Man, I want to ask you some details on that, but I don't want you to spoil the video.
Oh no, it's just like a weird prediction more than anything. That's it.
Okay, and man, Smoker and the cross. Well, I guess you're not saying he's gonna join. I would. Assume.
Oh no, God no. There's no way. Smoker and Buggy, that's crazy. Yeah,
I mean, Smoker joining Luffy's already, you know, a hot enough take. I feel like. In the community, so cross guild would be even worse because at least Luffy's like a good guy, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but cross guild, I will admit this though, it is becoming a group that is comprised of my favorite characters, just like the topic of today's video, the Celestial Dragons. Just a group of people that me and Dax Sake absolutely love,
and live like.
Oh, and yeah, we live by the Celestial Dragon Creed. So, you know, coming into today, I was like, man, I just love me some Celestial D. I was like, I need another YouTuber out there who really loves them. And, you know, while a lot of One Piece YouTubers love the Celestial Dragons, no one quite loves them like Dax Sake. So do you want to explain why you love them so much?
I mean, well, they're the gods of the world. You know what I mean?
Amen.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. And, you know, I think one of the kind of most appealing things about them, kind of being serious now, I guess, is that the way that Oda has made them just so utterly terrible, like the worst version of everything in one person. That's why they're great. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's why they're great is, you know, Oda packed all the worst things possible into people. But what I think he's going to do by the end is like, you know, the Celestial Dragons are bad because they've kind of been bred to be bad. You know what I mean? So it's not really their fault. So I'm definitely a Celestial Dragon defender in that regard, where, you know, you look at like Dofi, the only reason, well, I shouldn't say the only, but one of the biggest reasons that Dofi is the way he is because, you know, he was raised to be that way. And so, you know, I think by the end we're going to have, there's going to be a cool moment where, you know, we recognize that the celestial dragons aren't all bad. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They're like, they you
they're
know,
victims
they're
in
like
the situation.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they actually will be by the end because there's probably a reason they've been coddled this whole time, by, you know, Emu, because like is it just that you want to have a group of these people, you know, being gods and taking a lot of the important resources and stuff, at least the food and whatever, because like the food shortages are low now and whatever. Like, did the government really just have this group sitting around, or did they make this group for a specific reason because they need them in the future? Like, do they need purebred people for a reason? And that goes back to why the celestial dragons are great, is maybe they're like the only ones capable of doing some really important thing for Emu eventually, you know?
Oh yeah. And then I mean, even the name, like celestial dragon, like what does that mean? Like how do you get to the point where you call yourself a celestial dragon and consider yourself a breed higher than human? Like, yeah, I feel like there's going to be some deep meaning behind that. Because, like, the hoof they have, it's like, that's like a Western dragon hoof, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an Eastern dragon. It's like, how did we get that?
Well, I think they may actually turn into celestial dragons, like legitimate space dragons eventually. Because, like,
yeah.
Because, like, going back to what I said, like, maybe Emu needs, like, purebred people for, like, maybe of a specific race or whatever that is capable of this, but maybe they just don't know because, like, you know, they don't train or, you know, try to do anything crazy. Like, they don't develop their hockey or whatever, or go out and get devil fruits. Like, they get them and give them to, like, their slaves or whatever. And so I'm wondering if in the future, you know, there is like, that's why Emu has been keeping them around, is like, I need like, the reason that they are the way they are and that, like, they look down on everyone and they're given everything they want and, like, they have the bubbles is because, like, Emu needs them to not, you know, go breed with other races. Like, I need, like, maybe Emu needs them to be the way they are, so that later, you know, they can get turned into celestial dragons. And maybe that even ties to Sapphire Scale, right? Because that's like, you think about Sapphire Scale, like Kaido, he's a blue dragon. His scales were really, really hard. We never got to see Kaido's awakening, which some people I know think that maybe we did, but Oda never said it. So there's that's 100% that, you know, it's not confirmed.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm wondering if there's, like, a connection there, like, you know, the Sapphire Scale is maybe what a celestial dragon would be, because the sun also tied into that, right? Like, the sun made the scales grow more, and so, yeah, maybe the celestial dragons, you know, maybe that's why they were experimenting with it. They need to turn them into real dragons for, like, you know, against Joyboy in the future or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and we do have to remember that, you know, there was a whole filler arc where the whole concept was the seahorse wanted to become, I think it was like an ancient dragon.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was early in One Piece. It was like a whole arc. So there were two filler arcs in One Piece. One of them is called Warship Island, where, like, there's an actual living, breathing dragon just hiding in this invisible town, or something like that. It was like some weird premise. And then there's another filler arc later on, where it's this seahorse. And
Ocean's Dream.
It aspires to, like, become I think it's like, not celestial dragon, like an ancient dragon or whatever they coined. Now I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I'm reading through it right now. Ocean's Dream arc, which I just gotta say, the fact they called an arc Ocean's Dream, I'm just like, that just, like, those are two words that I feel like just carry so much weight. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
like people, like, with, like, the theories about Emu maybe being like Unumi Bozu, or just like a sea devil type thing in general, or some kind of tie to the sea, right? Because obviously, you know, like, devil fruit users can't swim and all that. And then the dream part, like, that's obviously just, you know, I don't know. That's very interesting.
Oh, here we go. I got it. It's not ancient dragon. They wanted to become 1,000-year dragons. So it's even more insane when you take into consideration, like, the Void Century and, like, you know, the missing history 900 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Oda cooked it up.
Yeah, millennial dragon. Yeah, 1,000 millennial is what they use on the wiki, but yeah, whatever. Same breakdown.
Yeah, wow. And, you know, this is early One Piece, so, like, the filler that we got Oda did play like a more prominent role in that as comparison to like today, for example. So, and they had a pretty cool concept in the filler arc where one of the islands they go to, it's always there, but it's invisible. So you have to like go through their force field, and then once you pass it, you can see the island. And ever since I saw that filler, I was like, yo, like maybe that's what Laugh Tale's like, right? Like we don't know where it's at. Maybe even God Valley, like maybe it's still there. It never moved, but it's just you have to know what you're looking for, or you have to know the exact location.
Yeah, I like that. You know, one of my biggest theories is that it's going to be under Long Ring Longland, but one of the sneaky good reasons, in my opinion, for it is that, so like whenever Aqua Laguna happens, the water goes down, so like it reveals more of the mountain. And I wonder if somewhere in the part that gets revealed is a door like you're talking about. And that's why it's like impossible to find, is it's like, hey, you got like 1 day or 1 hour or whatever to go. You have to know exactly where it is, because you're just going to like phase through the wall or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, you just got to go there on the right day, go to the specific spot that nobody would ever bother trying, et cetera, et cetera. Like, cause like maybe the door doesn't even work when it's underwater, you know, cause maybe it's like the result of like a devil fruit power or something. So it cancels. So it's like only when the water goes down, it opens or whatever. Cause we kind of saw that in Egghead a little bit, right? Didn't they like phase through the doors or whatever?
Yeah. They just walk right through it. And then I think it was Lilith. She says, don't believe everything you see with your eyes, or something like it was either Lilith or Atlas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Wait. You know what? I'm gonna cook even harder with this idea. What if, just like how you need like to be there at the right time, right day, right location, what if you also need the right weather conditions? Because one thing that always struck me as odd was that in the Laugh Tale flashback we got with Roger, there were like these weird, like, you know, there was like this pink filter over everyone, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And I was like, was Joyboy just like super fruity, which is, you know, it's fine, but I was like, what's going on with this flashback? What if a requirement is like correlates with Dr. Hirolik in his like, you know, final moments where, you know, he caused these quote cherry blossoms to like, you know, pop up. What if Chopper needs to like recreate that? What if that's like a key thing?
Yeah, I think as far as like, you know, getting to Laugh Tale, I'm not so sure if like how that would work for Chopper, but I definitely think like separately those ideas are definitely like important. Like I think Chopper's awakening could make trees into cherry blossom trees. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, if you look at Luffy's fruit, which is supposed to be a human fruit, now obviously it's a mythical model, so, you know, it's important there, but you look at Luffy's fruit, which is a version of a human fruit, his abilities are able to affect his surroundings, which paramecias are supposed to do. This is one reason why I think the fruit is technically a paramecia, but, you know, that's a whole other discussion. But going over to Chopper, maybe his does the same thing. When he awakens, maybe he can, like, spread the humanness or whatever he's doing to other people, and maybe for some reason that makes the trees turn into that. So I definitely think that's possible. Like, he is going to literally accomplish Here You Look Stream eventually. But then as for Laugh Tale, I mean, it could be that someone with Chopper's fruit awakened there. I think that maybe that's possible. But I also think it could just be like let's say Laugh Tale is inside of a whale, which is like a pretty popular theory, I think, that a lot of people have probably heard. Well, remember how Laboon was like painted inside? Like it was like just a normal sky and looked whatever. What if Joyboy painted it, you know, all pink or whatever? So it's like a, you know, maybe he's from a place that is all pink. Maybe he's from the place that Here You Look went to or whatever. So he made it look like his home or something. I don't know why he would do that, but that's been one of my favorite ideas. Is like the pink hue is because it was just painted pink on the inside.
Oh, that's gonna be so cursed though, because I imagine if Joyboy's like Luffy, he's gonna be a horrible artist.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's probably why Roger laughed. He's like, "Yo, like this is a kid's crayon drawing. What the hell is this?" I was
about to say. Yeah, that's why he's laughing.
That would bring tears to my eyes. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, what if it's just a crude? I don't even know what pink thing he would be drawing, because like you could just probably put, you know, pink paint everywhere, but maybe he is trying to draw something. I don't know what. That would be really interesting if that's what he was laughing at.
It's a silly picture of Emu. It's Emu at a debauchery party or something.
Yeah, you know the SpongeBob episode with the picture from the Christmas party?
No, yeah, exactly.
That's
what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just like the picture hidden in the box in a secret compartment.
Did we ever see what that picture was?
No, we never got to see it.
Like we didn't even see it like later on, like in like an outtake. You know what I
Nope,
mean? Like
never mentioned again, man. It still haunts me to this very day. Just like, what did SpongeBob? What was the picture of SpongeBob like? I gotta see it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good theory video. If anyone has a good theory on that.
Oh, maybe the reason why it's pink too. You know, like moving past the cherry blossoms and stuff. Maybe that's another hint that Emu is like a woman. Maybe if it is like a goofy drawing of Emu, maybe that's why it's pink.
Yeah. What if it's something like for Emu? You know, like it's like a message or like something Emu would have liked, I guess, is the idea. Like maybe they painted it so Emu can eventually go there or something. Which I would love a twist like that, where like not that Joyboy and Emu were like friends, but like there was a misunderstanding or coercion at some point, or you know what I mean? Something where like there was a more positive connection in Joyboy. You know, there's a reason why Joyboy is coming back instead of beating Emu back then. Like, what if they chose not to? Because it's like, I know you're a better person than this kind of thing. I don't know. Something like that.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. It could be like Dr. Hero, look how he was like, hey, like, I want to show you guys the cherry blossoms. Maybe he just drew a really bad cherry blossom tree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Or what if, like, you know, with like all the imagination powers of Joyboy and everything, what if what happened was like he painted it trying to turn it into the real thing? Like, so what if Joyboy was dying there, like at Laugh Tale, and he's like, and he knew this is where he was going to leave his treasure, you know, and this is like his final moments. And what if he's like, well, let me try to make those cherry blossoms that I heard can cure people, and so that's why he like painted everything and tried to turn it into the cherry blossoms, but maybe he couldn't do it because like, you know, he just turned them into rubber or whatever, so like it didn't have the same property, and then that could be a cool way where Chopper kind of, you know, surpasses him, or not like actually surpasses him, but at least, you know, maybe his fruit can actually make the cherry blossoms because, you know, he's a regular human, not a rubber human, so it's like he turns it into some other form. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like he was trying to live, like trying to survive by making the cherry blossoms on the wall. I like that.
I kind of just like the idea of Chopper getting a fruit awakening in general. Like I want to see like what a full Zoan human Chopper looks like, if there is even such a thing. Like, you know, the first human, a primordial human. I want to see Chopper do it.
Yeah, I think his brain point, or right, yeah, is probably the closest one to it, because he's kind of like an automata almost. You know what I mean? And so I'm almost wondering if that's a sign that like maybe original humans were like that, and then maybe like by breeding with giants and whatever, humans got to be their various taller sizes or something like that. So Chopper's like the OG human, and so whenever he awakens, maybe his brain just gets even bigger or something, because like that's kind of the main thing with humans, right? I mean, no disrespect to the other One Piece races, because there's plenty of very sentient ones there, but in our world, you know, humans are the top dog in terms of intelligence. You know what I mean? Like that's our main thing. We don't have a whole lot. I mean, we got opposable thumbs, and you know, we're bipedal and all that, but so I think Chopper, you know, basically becoming like incredibly smart, like even smarter than now whenever he awakens, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, get smarter. And yeah, it kind of it makes me wonder too, like how we got the minks, because the minks even said that, like, you know, humans are just hairless minks, right? So before that point, it always bothered me that Chopper never had a hairless form. But it's like, wait, like if humans and minks were like one and one, you know, if the minks are telling the truth, then it makes sense why Chopper in all of his forms is super hairy. But I do want to see like a hairless Chopper one day, you know, just shave the boy up.
Yeah, that's interesting, because the way zones work is like you should have like a full 100% of what the zone thing is. You should have a 100% the original, and then a hybrid. Chopper obviously cheats the system by having multiple hybrids of like varying kinds. But there should be like a full human form, which I know he has a human like mode that we've already been told, but he looks more like a Sasquatch. You know what I'm saying?
He looks like Bigfoot.
Yeah, he doesn't fully become human there, right? Like that's interesting. Maybe that's what the awakening is too. Like it's actually, which I mean, that would be cursed. I don't even think Oda's gonna do that, because like Chopper's biggest moment, he just like he doesn't look like himself at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that might be That might be a little much, but maybe what I honestly think is going to happen is he's going to turn all white also or something like that, and
Oh,
so we
that'd be
get like an
nice.
all white Chopper because like it'll kind of be skin in that way, like where he'll kind of look humanish, but it's actually just like white fur. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll look a little more like a person,
Yeah.
sort of, but he'll still be, you know, animal.
His awakening is just gonna be him going into what, full moon mink mode.
Oh, Sulong?
Yeah, Sulong.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't even make that connection. Yeah, actually, well, because Luffy's awakening, I already think has a really good tie to Sulong. Not that it is, but like obviously you have the white hair and everything. You have the red eyes. You even have like the exhaustion. Like after a certain amount of time, you're done. Like in Sulong, you'll die if you don't stop. For Luffy, he turns like into an old man and like can barely move. Right.
Yeah.
Even for Hody Jones, he took the energy steroids. They turned all white, got the red eyes, and then after they were done, they looked like Luffy when he's done. Like they got all old. Now Luffy can spring back into, you know, normal state or whatever. So for Chopper then to maybe do the same
Ooh.
thing, I like that.
Sorry, this is like a tangent, but have you ever watched Bleach?
Have I watched some episodes? Yes. Do I know anything about the show? Not really.
Are you ever going to like hop into it or no?
If you're asking me if you can say spoilers, go ahead, because I might watch it, but I'm not. It's not on my docket.
Okay, cool. Because this one is pretty cool. But like, there's a guy in the show who's like this half human, half dog guy. He's an anthropomorphic wolf, is how they describe him. Sanjin Komamura. But what happens is, in the final arc, he gets a power up where he turns into a full blown human. So it kind of makes me wonder if like Chopper might go the same route in a way. And the human form looks so good. I think the human form is cooking.
Hold on, I'm looking him up right now. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you
That's
could type
pretty
in like
cool.
a
I see
Bleach
it.
dog guy human form, and he turns into that. It's like, yeah, maybe Chopper has like a form like that.
I guess the only thing I'm struggling with is like, why would that be stronger? You know, like,
Yeah,
you know, like
I agree.
unless like I was saying, like whenever he does that, it's just like a side effect because he can turn things around him into like humans or whatever. Like, what if he's almost able to do what Big Mom does, like by making homies, by like turning other things into like humans, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like temporarily turning them alive, but like by extension, he would also have to turn into a human during that time because he's like awakened. That might kind of make sense, but it's just like physically he shouldn't be that much stronger. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Unless the human he turns into is like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, you know?
I kind of like that idea. Like he's just
Just get the
he's
Rock.
just insanely strong, like the strongest human of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't specify what kind of human, you know? Like, I am a human with a mile-long bicep.
Yeah, what if it's like Bonnie? You know, like Bonnie can,
Yeah?
you know, like turn into whatever, or like kind of, you know, within a realm of possibility, because like the younger she is, the more possibilities she has to believe in it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could even see something like that where Chopper can turn into any human. You know, like
Yeah.
any human he's ever seen, he can just turn into, so he can be like super strong ones or whatever.
Yeah, low-key, it's like Bon Clay's Delford or Kennery Devon. He could probably just mimic people at that point. If he really, like, you know, distorts his devil fruit. Like, I mean, and he has the rumble balls, you know? Like, his rumble balls already do that,
True.
so I don't think it's super crazy.
That's actually a great point. Like, he already uses the rumble balls to access all sorts of forms. His awakening is probably one that lets him access all sorts of different, you know, like he can be whatever version he wants. Like what he does with the rumble balls, he can probably do with his awakening freely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Damn. You know, Dr. Vegapunk, if he survives or if one of his clones survive and they hop on that Thousand Sunny, dude, they're about to school Frankie and Chopper. Like, they're going to learn so much.
Oh, yeah. And there's no doubt about that, but I also think just because, you know, Oda can't spend a ton of panel time showing us like everything they learn. So I think what's going to happen is like they're definitely going to learn a lot of stuff, but most of it's going to happen off panel. But Oda's also going to show us things where Chopper and Frankie do it better than the Vegapunks. You know what I mean? Because like,
That'd be
by
nice.
and large, you know, out of every 100 things that people learn, whenever like out of every 100 new things that people learn when those people finally get together and start talking about stuff, 99 of those things are going to be learned by Chopper and Frankie because they aren't as smart. But Oda's going to make sure to show us like the one thing occasionally that Chopper and Frankie do better, because like the cola thing. Do you remember when Vegapunk was like, "Wait, you use cola? Wait, what?
Yeah,
like,
what the hell?
Like he's never even thought about that. You know what I mean? So I think like that could be an interesting connection where, and I mean, I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent here, but I think what we might also find is that Frankie's cola is a hint to what the ancient power source was, because we talked before the stream that, you know, the Mother Flame is not the best one. Like the ancient kingdom had a better one that was an eternal flame and could create a sun and all this kind of stuff. What if that's actually Bink's sake? And so that ties back to Frankie's cola, where Bink's sake is the eternal flame source or whatever, like the eternal power source. And so if Vegapunk did think about cola as a power source, he may have actually found the one he was looking for all along, but he just wasn't thinking about something like that. Like what if the ancient robot has a giant sake bottle inside of him and that was his power source?
Yeah, he's just a major alcoholic.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That.
Like alcohol burns, right? So whenever it's called an eternal flame, it's like, well, I mean, you could, if you had an endless supply of sake, you would have an eternal flame in that regard. So
oh yeah, dang,
yeah,
that's a good one, yeah. And when you think about it, like since the robot is like an ancient robot, it probably has a really good liver. And then I mean, then there's Zunisha, who can like suck and spit out water. Maybe we could do that with sake.
Yeah,
maybe maybe the whole Joyboy crew relates to sake. And then we have Toki, who's Japanese. Or well, she's Wano, but you know, Japanese Wano sake.
Yeah, One Piece version of Japanese. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
from Wano. And you mentioned the robot, something about the robot's liver or something like that. But what if the robot had to turn into a robot because of his liver? Like he had so much Bink sake that he's like, well, you know, like I have to just get a cyborg liver at this point. You know, like otherwise
that's kind of cursed.
Done. Which Vegapunk, you know, was making organs and stuff in his lab, so you know.
Yeah, replace that liver. Don't drink too much, guys. That's a sign out there.
Yeah,
make sure
exactly.
to drink water.
Yeah, don't be like the robot.
Yeah. Don't be
Zunisha.
like Joyboy's crew. They're bad influences.
And don't be like Zunisha either, because Zunisha, you know, walked all the way over to Wano and did nothing and then left. So don't be like Zunisha either.
I love that so many people are on board with that Zunisha was totally pointless in Wano. Minus like a hype tool for Joyboy.
That's it. That like didn't knock down the walls, which is like, okay, like I'm okay with you know, Momo making that decision, but not blowing the water on the burning island.
That's crazy, right?
And Raizo using a scroll to have the water, and not only that, but the water is from Zunisha. Like, Oda, did you really think that through?
Dude,
you know what I mean? Did you fully, like, Zunisha was right there.
Yeah. You know, like, it's one of those things where, like, leading up to the Raizo water chapter, I remember, like, you know, it wasn't a unique idea, but I'm sure, like, everybody was like, oh, Zunisha's here, island's on fire, boom, Zunisha's just gonna put it out, right? Like, it is right there. But instead, we went the most backwards way possible, and we just had Raizo use a scroll that had water, and then Jinbei had a fishman karate, like, the water around the island. Like, what is going on? That's insane.
Which is maybe the best part about it, but because, like, Jinbei got to do something important. Because, it's his first arc as a full Straw Hat, you know what I'm saying? So, like, okay, like, I'm okay with him getting a feat, but you could just have Zunisha blow the water over, and then Jinbei could be like, oh, that water's not going to make it, or it's not going to make it all the way through the castle. You know what I'm saying? Then he could, like Jinbei still could have done his thing. Like, and also the thing about Raizo, dude, that maybe it makes us even worse. And by the way, I just did a discussion a couple of days ago with Par about like chapter 11-14, but we also got on the same topic and started saying the same thing because he also agrees. And I think the thing that makes it really crazy is that Raizo just finished the Hokage battle. Like right before that happened, like he was on fire, freaking out. Like they were standing there just on fire, keeping each other paralyzed that entire fight. And Raizo sitting there like not breaking a sweat. But we actually know Raizo hates fire because of the Odin thing, right? Like he's really having a hard time back then. So he's like, I'm not going to worry about this fire. Like that was his whole thing. And he was burning the whole time. And I'm like, dude, how are you going to fall over and then immediately get back up and spread the water everywhere? Like I just don't. I don't know.
It's such a bewildering plot point now that I think about it. Just like it's not like the whole thing where like we wanted the theory to be true just to win. No, it's not that. Like it's just like it was right there. You know, like it was the most logical conclusion.
I'm probably terrible. You know what I mean? This is probably like LeBron James to a rec league player difference in skill. You know what I mean? But I feel like these are like layups. You know what I'm saying? Like these should be like these are the types of things where like a non One Piece theorist who like just got into the series and is like still getting their feet wet and like understanding the ins and outs and how Oda does things or whatever, they would probably pick up on like, okay, that's weird that Zunisha didn't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the newest people would pick up on it. Like that's how obvious of like a questionable thing it was. Like what is this big elephant doing here? You know? So
yeah, and it doesn't help that like the fire and Zunisha's arrival like coincided so perfectly too, right?
Exactly.
Like, Kazenbo set the island on fire. Oh my God, here comes Zunisha, right? Like Zunisha's here in the same chapter.
And something that I want to get your opinion on is, so you know how Zunisha is meant to like destroy the walls of Wano and that'll free Pluton?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think it's as simple as Zunisha just like swinging their trunk and destroying the walls, or is there something that Zunisha specifically can do? Because you would have to imagine like a Bajrang gun or Blackbeard's Gura Gura powers, or even like some other kind of Devil Fruit awakenings. You know, there's probably a lot of things that could create the same kind of force to break those walls, or just, you know, like maybe Croc can turn the walls to sand so they just fall apart. Like there's other ways around it. So do you think there's something that only Zunisha can do maybe to break those, and that's why Zunisha has to do it? And also maybe why Oda didn't want us to see it yet?
The only thing I could think of that is within reason is just Zunisha sucking the water, like the fresh water out, and spitting it somewhere else first, which doesn't make any sense either, because like if you destroy the wall, it's just going to disperse anyways. But I mean, what the hell do we know about water, right? Like we see Lelouch, we see Indy's lobby, and we're like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So I guess Oda could get wacky with it and say that maybe if you break the walls down with the fresh water still inside, it messes something up.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
No, I've never even thought of that actually. That's interesting. Like the walls would be tougher to break with the water because like maybe it's just, you know, just stronger or whatever, more resilient. I actually like that. I didn't even think about that. I guess the caveat there is like you could technically drain the water other ways, but I mean even then that would make Zunisha like that much more, because Zunisha can do both, right? Drain the water and bat it down. So like that's why they can do both. That's interesting. That like this is like a really crazy idea in my last video. I just wanted to ask because like we were just on the topic of Zunisha, but I almost wonder if Zunisha can like shoot a laser or something. You know what I mean? Like something like super crazy that like, because like I said, if it's just batting down, that's like too simple. You know what I mean? Like that's like anyone can do that kind of deal. So I almost wonder if Zunisha can like do like a Boro breath through its trunk, or like some other kind of like devil fruit. It doesn't have to be a devil fruit power, but some other kind of like special thing where we're like, okay, what the hell is Zunisha actually? You know what I mean? Like like we thought it was just an elephant. It's, you know, a cyborg or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
I would like that. No, that's cool. I mean, and it would make sense as to why we didn't see it yet, because Zunisha needs to be like told to do like basic things like breathe and eat and walk and poop. So yeah, it makes sense as to why we haven't seen Zunisha like whip out these abilities. Yeah. Like Zunisha was like, please, somebody let me kill Jack, please.
Exactly. So the way I'm looking at that is like, dude, does Zunisha have an authority chip?
Oh yeah. Zunisha. And
and Momo is the top of the command. Like Bonnie with the pacifista.
I like that a lot, but it wouldn't explain. I guess it could be coincidence, but like it wouldn't explain why Zunisha showed up at Wano when they did. Like, because that means that somebody would have to order them to say, "Hey, like go to Wano." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I think there's maybe a couple possibilities. One could be that Zunisha like had like a pre-programmed thing to go to Wano that day because like even Odin knew that Joyboy was coming like 20 years in the future and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's like they knew. So it could have been programmed. Or before they left, maybe Momo was like, hey, come to Wano this night, because maybe they already knew that was the night. Like, because I think they knew they were going to do it during the Golden Calgara or whatever they called it, right? So
Zunisha
yeah.
could be like Topsy, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess just to give you the full gist of the theory, like I'm going to take forever on it, but so what I basically think Zunisha is the ancient power source, but with an elephant fruit, and it is probably like Pluton, where Pluton's probably the same thing, but a different devil fruit. Like basically they like kind of like the mother flame. Imagine giving the mother flame a devil fruit, like an elephant fruit.
Yeah.
That's basically what I imagine Zunisha is. So it is like a cyborg kind of, but not really. And it I'm trying to think of like the easiest way to explain this without sounding crazy, because I don't want to take forever on this one topic. But basically, we look at Eni's lobby and there was like the anti-Pluton that was supposed to be made. It was like a counter for the real one. And we know that Zunisha is tied to Pluton really closely because like it's supposed to break the walls and free it. So I'm wondering if there's like some irony where Zunisha is the anti-Pluton that was built back in the day, and instead of defeating Pluton, it's now bringing Pluton back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
and its crime could have been being used at Eni's lobby, because that was the entire point of that arc was, the Pluton blueprints and so, yeah. So I'm wondering if Zunisha was responsible for that, and like,
Damn.
that could also explain how Zunisha is so old. It has an eternal power source powering an elephant,
Yeah, and another thing about like Zunisha potentially stopping Pluton in the past, it would kind of make sense as to why Wano's filled with fresh water. Kind of, but not really. Like maybe Zunisha just spit all that water into Wano. Maybe that's part of it too.
Well, where would Zunisha have gotten it, right? I guess
Yeah, because that's fresh water. So that throws a big wrench in the theory. But
I mean, unless like maybe there was a body of fresh water somewhere else and they wanted to preserve it, and so they put it there. But even then, like the water overflows. You know what I'm saying? And mixes back. So because like the way that it becomes fresh water is just like whenever seawater evaporates, like only the water goes up, not the salt. So then the rain is fresh water that comes back down, so it fills up. So
yeah,
but no, I like the idea though, because like Oda made that fresh water and salt water difference. Like that's gonna matter, I think. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
In Alabasta, I think they talked about how like near the mouth of the Sandora River, like the salt and fresh water met and like a certain effect happened or something. And I wonder if that might happen whenever the walls break too, because like all that fresh water gets released into the salt water at once.
Oh, I didn't even think about like the consequences of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like the Sandora River, and they said like the salinity is getting messed up, and now like I think the salinity is pushing up the river or something in Alabasta. I can't remember exactly. I'm gonna look it up, but
Now that I'm thinking about it, man, like Wano is just so funny. Like no matter how you spin it, whatever happened to ancient Wano is gonna be a little bit goofy. It's either like Zunisha spitting water into it, or like they just built a wall and then they just ended up drowning because it kept on raining.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wonder if there's gonna be like a great conclusion to it, or a great reveal where we look back at Wano in the freshwater situation and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like of course they had to evacuate to a mountain. Of course, they couldn't find a natural way outside of Wano or out of Wano, so they had to build Mogura Port, which was inside the mountain and led beneath through the waterfall. Like I wonder if there's gonna be like something Oda can do with that, where we look back and we're like, wow, Oda's a genius. Or if it's just going to be like one of those things where it's like, wow, the Wano citizens are just goofy.
Well, I think definitely a little bit of both, for sure. Like, Oda's going to make the old people of One Piece, like from 900 to 800 years ago, he's going to make them just as goofy as the current times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 100%. We're going to see so many parallels between the old people and current people. Like it's like, not that they're going to be one-to-ones completely. They're obviously going to look different, and there's going to be some slightly different decision making, but like, we're going to see some characters say like the same things other characters would say, like their counterparts. But going back to your point about, like kind of like what happened in Wano, or what it was like and all that kind of stuff, like Moga Report and that decision making. I think kind of where that's going to go is that Fishman Island and Wano and a lot of these other countries were like tasked with important things, and Joyboy basically he didn't screw them over, but he had to ask major favors of all of them in order to save the world. So like Fishman Island, he left that apology because I think he's like, hey, you guys got to stay down here under the sea, basically submerged, kind of like Wano is. You guys got to stay down here and be submerged away from everybody and keep it secret. Don't, I need you guys to stay down here. Like, even the robot went up 200 years ago when the fishmen joined the Reverie and basically made them not be in the Reverie again. Like, it's like the fishmen have been forcefully stuck to the bottom of the ocean for a reason. For Wano, I think Joyboy did the same thing where he's like, hey, all right, I'm really, really sorry, guys, but you need to put up this wall and keep your borders closed to the world on purpose for 800 years until I come back, and then you can go back to normal. So I'm really sorry. Like, 800 years, I need help. And then I bet you we're going to find out the same thing happened in Elbaf, where it's going to be like, hey, like, maybe like the Atom Tree is there, or maybe for that one, maybe the Atom Tree was once like, maybe part of the Atom Tree got taken, and or something like that, like, hey, I need to remove this or take this from you, or it could even be that he's like, hey, I'm gonna put this ancient weapon on top of your tree, you need to protect it at all costs, like, no matter what, you guys need to make sure nobody is capable of coming in here and taking it, and that's why they're at war all the time. Maybe it's like they're helping their quote unquote god of Elbaf, which is maybe Uranus, because Joyboy told them to protect it at all costs, right? And there's probably other examples you could go through, but I think Joyboy went around and was just begging for help, basically. Like, guys, I it's an impossibly large favor to ask, but I need you to submerge your whole country, like, I think that's where it's going. Joyboy is going to be like it's going to be a lot of trust involved.
He's a serial moocher is kind of what I got from that.
Yeah, and the Celestial Dragons are not.
Yeah,
they're the opposite.
Yeah, the Celestial Dragons, they pave their own way up. Love those guys.
It's their land. It's theirs.
No, I like that
Joyboy
theory
stole
a lot.
it from them.
Maybe there was like an eternal flame for Fishman Island, for example, and maybe Joyboy stole that, and he's like, hey, I need to borrow this or something. You guys are gonna have to live in the dark for a while. Just live off of the Sunlight Tree Eve. You guys got this. That
was something that I noticed doing my last video that I think is like kind of important that I didn't fully grasp, is that Sunlight Tree Eve doesn't just like emit sunlight everywhere, because I was like, oh, maybe that ties to the ancient power source, because it's kind of like a sun, like maybe it was planted with that power. Like, I don't know how the hell that would work, but you know what I mean. But actually Neptune says that like when it sends daylight from above to down below, and when it's nighttime up above, it's nighttime in Fishman Island also. So it's literally just sharing the sunlight from above. And I just thought that was interesting, because it's kind of like, okay, so that's not like that's like a new sun. Like, how does it funnel, the sunlight all the way down to the bottom when we don't even really see the top of it?
We've never seen the top of that, dude.
Yeah, like, it's probably in Mariejois, I would imagine, but
we've never seen it silhouetted or even in the background. Like, for Elbaf, right, we see what we believe is the Atom Tree, right? It's always in the background. It's always like superimposed. But for Sunlight Tree Eve, it's like, dude, we don't see none of that. Like, where is it? We've seen multiple shots of Mariejois, but not a single tree.
I guess I'll say this. The top of it probably goes up to Mariejois, but it could also, like, divert somewhere else in the ocean, technically.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, like, I think a good connection here is Giant Jack, because we saw the top of it and we saw it get cut down, but we never really saw where it originated. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know... Because, like, they probably can't grow something like that in the sky clouds, I would imagine. Like, they needed Verth to grow, like, certain crops and all that. And Giant Jack, with how big it is, I'm just like, okay, maybe that is also connected to Verth somewhere. And I don't know, man. That maybe that is connected to, like, the giants in Elbaf, because, like, Giant Jack and the Beanstalk, like, there's giants up top. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no, I would like that.
Yeah, and so maybe like it connects to the Atom Tree, like it's like an offshoot of it or something. And then if Giant Jack then like kind of weaves from Elbaf like through all the sky clouds over to the other part of the world, that might give us a template for the Sunlight Tree Eve. Maybe it also kind of like snakes around a bunch of the world somewhere.
Since we're talking about Sunlight Tree Eve, what if Madame Charlie's prediction that Luffy destroys Fishman Island, what if that's wrong? What if she misinterpreted that dream? And instead, the fire we see behind Luffy is actually like the Mother Flame or the Eternal Flame that Vegapunk was talking about. and Luffy's just bringing light down there, like eternal light.
I mean, I kind of like that. I guess because like we saw the fire in water, right?
Yeah.
For the mother flame. So like we kind of have an example that, you know, even under the sea, this weapon should work theoretically. So I kind of like that. I mean, I guess I guess she really only saw the fire, or at least we saw. Like, I guess I'm kind of assuming she saw more than that, but like didn't want to show us because it was like horrific. That's like kind of the vibe I got. But,
Yeah.
But she does only really show Luffy like with fire behind him. So that's kind of interesting.
That would be funny if there was like cut content for Madame Charlie's vision. Like imagine like besides Luffy standing by the fire, it's also like Luffy killing all the kids with a straw hat on. That'd be huge.
Oh, which tying to that, I kind of like the idea that Katarina Devon like pretends to be Luffy and goes down to Fishman Island like as a part to like try to get Poseidon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we talked about that, but
yeah. I like that too. I'm kind of leaning more towards the idea though that Luffy is gonna destroy Fishman Island because he needs to close that gap in the red line.
Oh yeah, and then all the rubble is gonna come out, so he has to, you know, do something. What if the fishermen don't want to leave, and then Luffy's like, "Well, you don't want to go up because you're afraid. Well, you're gonna force my hand. I'm gonna break your home." That'd be cool.
Well, I'm thinking by closing that gap, it really makes the red line into a full dam, because right now it's not. It's pretty much like a dam, but with that one hole, the water levels can even out, right? It doesn't actually keep the water separate.
Yeah.
So like the sea level, if it increases on one side, it'll even out with the other side eventually because of that hole. So I'm almost wondering if Luffy is gonna, I mean, not that he would think of this himself, I'm sure somebody smart is gonna tell him, but would be like, "Hey Luffy, you know, both the holes in the ocean we're aware of are in the paradise side of the Grand Line." And I'm like, what if somebody's like, "Hey Luffy, you know, if we block that hole up, then the sea level's only going to increase on one side and we can save half the world or something." And then he'd be like, "Okay, well that's that's a good start." And now it might be like, "Okay, well the other side's just screwed." Well, maybe with the holes there, maybe they act as drains and there's some way to like save it. I don't, you know, I'm not exactly sure, but I just think by blocking up that hole at Fishman Island, you're kind of opening the door for, you know, an interesting flood situation where you can save part of the world, I guess. And then so going to your point about like the fishermen being forced to move, it could be a thing where Luffy comes down and kind of does have to terrorize them a little bit, because he's like, "Hey, I need to move this whole thing because I need to fill this gap up right here and your island's in the way, so everyone needs to move right now." And they're like, "No." And he's like, "Well, you have to. There's no choice."
Yeah, he starts like putting them on the crucifixion, just like Kid.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. All the kids with the straw hats.
Yeah, just the kids with the straw hat. Everyone who bought his merchandise, he just messes them up.
Oh,
just
God.
them specifically.
Yeah, Luffy has the ultimate merch team, man. All he does is straw hats everywhere.
It's such a simple thing too, right? Like it's just straw. It's just straw and a little bit of cloth.
Yeah, with that cloth is key.
Yeah, I feel like any country could make a straw hat. Except for maybe like Alabasta.
Yeah. Yeah, because they can't grow straw. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like they could.
Yeah, I think they can now. They probably couldn't while Crocodile was there. So Crocodile was the anti.
Yeah,
that's why he did everything.
Crocodile's so funny, dude. Like, you know, just going back and rewatching Alabasta, I always laughed whenever that old man was trying to dig for water, and then Crocodile every day on the dot would just create a little desert storm. That made me crack up, dude. Just thinking,
such a savage.
Yeah, like, dude, Crocodile probably has like a timer or some assistant that's keeping a sundial. He's like, "Hey, Crocodile, sir, it's time." And then Crocodile walks outside and just throws like a little tornado his way. That's insane. Like, that's so needlessly evil.
It's like such an asshole. Like, it's just, that's like the type of thing where like I was about to say I'd be more mad at that than everything else Crocodile did. I'm definitely more mad about, you know, causing a drought and a civil war. You know what I mean? That's definitely worse. But it's way more petty to do what he was doing to that old guy. You know what I mean? It's like,
just one guy.
Dude, come on. You're subjugating this whole country. You're about to kill their king. You're about to find out something about an ancient weapon, even though he didn't, but he was close. It's like, we really got to do this to this guy. You know, like, come on.
No, that's great. What was the guy's name again? Toto?
I want to say that it's something like that. I'm pretty sure it's
I think
Toto,
it's Toto. Yeah, rest in peace, Toto. He's still alive, but rest in peace, man. He suffered for way too long.
When you said Toto, I thought of the JJK character first because that's my favorite JJK character.
Oh yeah, Toto's great.
Series.
Toto's great.
Oh, amazing.
Do you read the manga?
Yes, but I haven't read the last chapter.
Okay.
Which part of me wants
fair.
to pull it up right now because
No. That's a whole trip. That's a different rabbit hole right there.
That's a different video.
That's an entirely different video. Speaking of which, though, Celestial Dragons. Who's your favorite? who's your favorite Celestial?
Oh, definitely Saint Nerona Charloss.
Oh,
that's what I think his name is going to be. Is Nerona? He's going to be an emu
Dang.
descendant. And that's why Oda has focused on him and made him like the exemplary celestial dragon. You know what I mean? I think it's because that's an emu descendant. Like not that that's emu's actual descendant. Like I doubt emu has children, but it's like emu's family. You know what I'm saying?
Emu's
like maybe
cousin.
emu's brothers. Yeah, exactly. It's like emu's nephew. I guess
that would be Oda tying in the gag, and it would also be tying in that durability, dude. Oh my god, Charloss is durable.
Tank,
dude.
Kaido has nothing on Charloss. That's all I gotta say.
You think Kinemon surviving Kaido's Kanabo was crazy? Oh my god, Charloss has survived not way worse, but he survived like some crazy attacks.
Yeah, you look at Law during Wano, who should be dead currently. Like he should have died 10 attacks ago during Wano because he took like the Thunder Bagua, then he immediately gets back up, goes and fights Big Mom, gets hit. He got hit with lightning also on the roof. Law should just be dead completely. But that kind of durability is nothing compared to Charloss, man. I mean, you look at he got hit, by Luffy in the pre-time skip, which is one thing, but then also the like Sai and Leo combining, dude. I mean,
and people are gonna say Law is more impressive, but you gotta think about it relative to their stats, right? Like like Law, his durability, it's great, but he's already a really strong character. Charloss, that durability is insane for someone who isn't strong.
It's all natural.
All natural, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was born with it. He was born ready. And so that here's what we should take away from it. If Charloss was training, he'd probably be the top God's Knight right now. You know what I mean?
God, if I was a Celestial Dragon, I feel like that's what I'd want to be. Just a Holy Knight.
Yep, be able to judge the other Celestial Dragons, send them to jail.
Dude, Saint Garling Garland. Dude, his entrance was so tough. I loved it. Because Mjosgard, I liked Mjosgard a lot. I was like, dude, Mjosgard, he's sticking up for Shirahoshi. He's repaying that debt. Like this guy's just an overall like great character. His appearance even changed as he changed. I was like, yo, like this, I was invested in Mjosgard, right?
Yep.
And then we come back and he dies. The guy's dead. And I loved it.
Well, probably. He's going to die. It looks like he's still being executed, I think.
Oh, you don't think he's dead yet?
No, I think he's on the cross, like ready to die. Like I don't think that was his dead body, I guess is what I'm saying. Like he's up for show for an execution is the vibe I got from it.
Yeah.
Like, he is going to die. He's a dead man. If he's not dead now, he's one chapter away. Like the next time we see him, he's gonna get killed. You know what I mean?
Do you remember what chapter that was in?
I want to say 1086.
1086.
Or 96. Or no, 86. It was 86, sorry.
1086. Let me see. Yeah. Oh yeah, you nailed it. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Let me see. Where's Mjosgard?
Well, because it says the man he sentenced to execution. So sentenced. Yeah. So I think he's currently up on the cross, kind of like Yasu a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like there's no escape for this guy. Like if he's sentenced to execution,
he's dead.
I don't know. Like it's kind of the thing where it's like, like what would delay their schedule? Like maybe the whole thing with Sabo, like in the food source, maybe he's like, I'll kill this guy when I get back home. But nah, I think we need to kill Mjosgard, man.
When Kuma went up to the red line in 1092, that's what I thought was going to happen. He was going to like blow something up, and then Mjosgard would get freed and be able to run. Which, to be fair, we haven't. This was before the Kuma chapter, right? So theoretically, Kuma wreaking havoc up there could free him, because think about this parallel, which this actually just hit me, and I should have put this in my video. But so you know, Kuma and the ancient robot are parallels in some ways because they both climbed the red line and wreaked havoc in Mariejois, right?
Yeah.
Well, remember, the robot went up there while the fishmen were joining the reverie, and they ended up not getting to join. Well, Mjosgard ties to the fishmen very closely, right? He helped them. He went down to Fishman Island a long time ago, right, and saved Shirahoshi. So maybe he did get freed by Kuma's actions while he was up there to kind of bookend robots climbing the red line. Like the first one hurt the fishmen, like not physically, but like made them not be in the reverie, and then the second one helped them by helping their savior. Because honestly, if Mjosgard gets out of here, he's still a celestial dragon, right? Like he probably still like can make some orders and pull some strings even after this.
He probably even has some secrets, man.
Exactly. He's probably gonna go tell, you know what, that's what's going to happen. He is going to get free. You know, he's not dead. I changed my mind. He's not. He's coming back.
As much as I love killing characters, like I love Mjosgard, but I wanted him to die. But now you're convincing me. Maybe there is value in his life. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to your original question about my favorite celestial dragons, as much as I actually do kind of like Charloss because of just he's like the ultimate terrible person, Mjosgard is actually my favorite.
Mjosgard?
Sure. And oh yeah. Oh man, the growth of him like going down to Fishman Island and like holding the gun to like Otohime and everyone and all that, like the growth from and I say growth because like obviously that's terrible. Like people shouldn't even think that. But again, going back to what we said at the very beginning, you know, they're born into this life. Like they look down on commoners because that's just what's normal to them. That's, you know what I mean? They're raised to act this way.
They're bred to hate.
But he had a life experience that completely conflicted with his entire worldview and was like, okay, these people that I was told to hate are actually good and help me, and maybe I need to like rethink the world. And he did and made up for it. And to me, that's like, I don't even know, man. That hits so hard for me because like they just, you know, they're supposed to be so selfish and so like kind of like unchangeable, or that's like how they're supposed to feel, like irredeemable, I guess is the right way. But he's like, not that he is redeemed, but he's trying, you know. So I don't know, man. I love Mjosgard. I'm down for him to survive.
I think he's also a prime example of what the celestial dragons could be in the future, right? Because you know, people look at the celestial dragons, they're like, oh, we should kill all of them. You know, we should just get rid of them. That's the easiest solution. And I agree with that. I am a guy who usually, I wouldn't say cut corners, but you know, Straight and Simple is just that. You know, where you usually want to go. But there is a chance that the celestial dragons could survive and they could all change. I mean, Homing wanted to leave. Mjosgard did leave, and then, you know, he changed, and now he came back, and he's a different guy. He didn't even own any slaves. So there's a chance that, like, after we learn about the Void Century, after we potentially get rid of the Red Line, or, you know, all the races come together or whatever, I think there's a chance that the celestial dragons, they all go through a change. I mean, even Saint Charlia, right, in the latest chapter, she started questioning about like the Void Century, which we don't really know the context of that. Like it's either she knows about the Void Century and she's confused about what Vegapunk's going to talk about. Maybe she doesn't know about the Void Century. Maybe it has a different name. Like there's a lot of ways Oda could spin that one.
That's interesting. I'm going to go read the official because that like there's been a lot of things where I'm like, okay, depending on like the slight changes in the wording of these things, I'm going to look at it completely differently.
Oh yeah.
Like there's been even in this last chapter with like the Joyboy being the first pirate and everything. Not that it's a major difference, but to me, I think the official makes it more clear that like Joyboy being the first pirate, it says, and he was the very first man on the sea to be called a pirate. And so that the way that this is phrased compared to TCB tells me, okay, there probably were other men on the sea, but none that were called pirates, because if you're a pirate, you're against the government. So it's probably like there was tons of pirates, quote unquote, but there, you know, he was the first one to be an enemy to the government or to the 20 kings. Like that's more clear in this one. So there's been a lot of things like that. So I'm actually trying to go find the panel you're talking about, because like,
she says, so in the Viz, Charlia says Void Century, what is that? But I'm always hesitant to lean on the Viz more than like TCB or any other scan site. I don't know if you read JJK, but JJK, the Viz is awful. The translator for that one, oh my goodness gracious. They forget move names, they forget like how the world works, and it's actually unreadable. So like I'm always hesitant to like lean in on the One Piece Viz, because they have been wrong pretty recently with One Piece. So I think it's one of those instances where it's always nice to have multiple translation sites under your belt, and maybe even just find like a native Japanese speaker. But even then, they have to know what One Piece is, and they have to know the context of the conversation, because you can't just kidnap the nearest Japanese person and force them to read you One Piece, because they won't know like what to translate or how to translate it even.
For sure. Yeah. I would say in terms of like readability, I think TCB is like way better than the Viz. Like if you're just trying to read it like casually, like like the way that we think of the characters and like the experiences we have and everything, the TCB makes their language and like their type of dialogue closer to what they should be. You know what I'm saying? Like they're closer to what the character would actually say in terms of like a actual person. But I will say that whenever it gets to like deciphering dialogue, if that makes sense, like what was the real message here they were trying to say, I think the Viz does a better job of like dumbing it down to like the simplest possible thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, but that is to say, I completely agree. Like it's best to have both, because like between the because like for the TCB, for this, like for instance, this Joyboy being the first pirate, I read it and I'm like, okay, that could be either like he was literally the first one to take to the seas, or he was just the first one to be called a pirate. Like, because there's kind of a difference there. But this one makes it pretty clear that that there probably were other people sailing. He was just the first pirate because he's like an enemy or whatever. So yeah, it's always good to have both for sure, because I mean it's hard to translate this stuff.
Oh yeah, and it does kind of make me wonder, like, to be the first person to be called a pirate, like what do you have to do to get that title, Because like you said, like being a pirate typically means you're against the world government. But back in the day, there wasn't the world government. There were just a bunch of mini governments that were, tied to their specific islands or countries. So it's like, was Joyboy going around just breaking laws? Like what if we get to the Void Century flashback and Joyboy is a bad guy? Which is hard to imagine considering his name is Joyboy, right? Like when I think of Joyboy, I think of like some maniac who doesn't stop smiling.
It's the same. And that goes
Maybe
back
just like
to
the
when...
Joker.
And in this chapter, they say that Joyboy was born into a kingdom with an impossibly advanced civilization. Is that he was like day zero born, like he was birthed out of the womb 900 years ago? Or is that he awakened his fruit 900 years ago?
Yeah, like... I have seen that debate, and I don't really have like a bone on either side. Like they both sound like they could work, but it's just weird. Like, did he live exactly 100 years and then awaken the day he died? Like, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
I have no clue either, man. So, my thought is that, because, like, here's the thing. If the Void Century started 100 years ago, it's like, okay, so if Joyboy was day zero born then he's like, he probably, he's surviving this war for the first 10 to 17 years of his life or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like just trying to make it through. And then I guess like Luffy, whenever he's 17, he probably took to the sea. So does that mean that 17 years into the Void Century, he started fighting back? So there was like, like that, like, yeah, it's so hard, man. Like it's so crazy how we get some answers and we have more questions. We're like, okay, well, what do you really mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish we got like the Oda notes on the side, like, hey, like this is breaking it down in like a genius lyrics type of way. Here's like an entire paragraph on how I meant this.
Oh, that genius, like rap genius. That's funny.
Yeah, like rap genius.
Like, here's what he meant. Yeah, we need that, man. We need like a rap genius, but for Oda,
Yeah. I mean, it would clear up so much, but maybe it would clear up too much, though. Because Oda doesn't like clearing up debates in general. That's what, like people probably ask him like every day, like, oh, what character is stronger? Like, this situation, like, why didn't you do this? And then Oda probably just ignores all of it because, he wants people to talk about his manga.
Right. Yeah. Like
that's just how it is.
This is our discourse a lot of the time is on trying to decipher what he's doing. Like even here with the Mother Flame, like I've been talking to a lot of people recently about how like before this chapter, it was treated like the Mother Flame and the power station at Egghead were two separate things. And then in this chapter, we're apparently learning they're the same thing.
Yeah.
And so the question's like, okay, well, York said that she sent them a Mother Flame, that the Mother Flame was used at Lelousia. How does that work? And so my assumption is like, well, so she had to have like made a second one or like shared that like an Olympic torch type thing, like took the Mother Flame and spread it to another thing to be used somewhere. You know what I mean? 'Cause,
Oh, Mother Torch is a good, or not Mother Torch. The passing the torch one. That's a good way to put it. Because I was always wondering, like, how the hell do we move this thing?
yeah, because remember York said like I can replicate it as long as I have the power station at Egghead. And
Yeah.
even before this chapter, they're like, oh, don't destroy the power station because even though it'll blow everything up and kill all the life forms, we can't make the Mother Flame again. So it seems to me like they need to keep this one Mother Flame alive because they can just like borrow the flame and send it somewhere else and blow it up. You know what I mean? Like I'm imagining it like a weather egg, but it's just like filled with Mother Flame and they just blow it up.
Yeah.
And that's, you know what I mean? Like something like that.
Imagine the way to get more Mother Flames. You just pour sake on it.
Wait, yeah, what if it is like you put sake and then the flame, because like it would burn the sake? What if the blub isn't water, but it's sake?
I mean, we did get the glug glug a while back with Vasco Shot's Devil Fruit, so maybe that's cooking.
Actually,
I like that.
I like that too. Wow.
At some point in the story, you know, sake is gonna make a comeback, and I didn't realize this too. But another pirate thing that we haven't gotten yet, and he may brought this up to my attention, but we haven't seen a message in a bottle.
That's true.
I mean, like
that's like a pretty typical pirate or sea story, you know, trope.
Yeah, like I was just thinking back to like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like we got Davy Jones, you know, we got the wacky dimensions already. Like the only super pirate thing we even have like the pirate town with Hachinosu. It's like the only thing we're missing is just like a message in a bottle.
Maybe that's what the One Piece is.
Maybe that's even why Joyboy set sail one day. Maybe like something washed up ashore and he was like, "Hey, I gotta take to the sea."
Oh,
like there's life forms out there.
What if it was asking for help because of the 20 Kings? Like, what if they didn't know what the 20 Kings were doing, and like some island like sent a message for help, and that's how it all started? And why he became the first pirate is he's the first one to like get that like these 20 Kings needed stopped. Like,
oh yeah,
because something I brought up in my video is like I feel like the Ancient Kingdom probably got framed at some point. And public sentiment probably flipped against the Ancient Kingdom, so that's why the 20 Kings were able to start doing what they were doing. Is like people probably assumed they were the good guys at one point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Because going back to like the hole at Eni's lobby and going to like the robot's apology and Zunisha committing a great crime, I'm wondering if like let's just to dumb it down, like what if the robot made the weapon that was used at Eni's lobby, because the robot already uses the ancient power source, we know that for sure. And so that's why he's apologizing, is because he could cause that. And like, what if the way that happened is the government did it in a way where it made it look like it was the ancient kingdom's fault that it exploded, and they're like, see what happens when you make this high-tech stuff? Like, it's way too dangerous. We got to stop this. We can't have technology like this in existence. And maybe people were like, oh yeah, good point. Yeah. Like that's really dangerous. We didn't think this through. But in reality, it was the government using it the wrong way the whole time. Like, I think that something like that probably happened. I would guess. Cause like, I don't know, like how else like going back to the pirate thing, it's like, shouldn't everyone be a pirate and against the government at that point, or the 20 Kings? If they're really causing a mass genocide, it shouldn't be that Joyboy's the first one to take a stand. Like, I'm sure everyone didn't want this to happen.
That's hard. Because like my mindset is almost the exact opposite, to be honest. Like I always felt like really? I always felt like the 20 kingdoms and the 20 kings and queens, I felt like they were always the good guys, actually. I feel they maybe started with really good intentions, and that, you know, Joyboy might have been like not like evil, but there might have been like a Calgara Nolan misunderstanding somewhere between that. And maybe this could lead to them framing Joyboy to some extent, but I feel like the world government initially started with good intentions, and this is like a whole headcanon theory I'm working with on the side, but like on the Mother Flame tank we see Amu, right? AMU. Yeah. People are saying, you know, break it down by Japanese standards, it's A-Tumu for like Adam. Yep. So I like that a lot. But whatever. Something I went to was Doraemon, which is a show that apparently Oda was Oda watched as a kid, and apparently that inspired him to create Devil Fruits, which is kind of crazy. But wow. in the show, there's a character, well, there's like a bunch of movies, but in one of the movies, there's two robots who started civilization, and they were named Amu and Emu.
Oh, I think I saw your tweets about this,
Yeah.
actually.
And the craziest part is that when they started humanity, they started like cooking up descendants and, you know, having little robot people working with them. But eventually, what happened was that they ended up creating slavery over time. And they created two separate classes. They had the upper class of nobles, and then they had the common class, which are just robot slaves. They started enslaving each other. And it's crazy because like Amu and Imu, they first originated because they didn't like humans. They didn't like the way humans operated. But, you know, over time, they just started acting exactly the same way that humans did. And I was like, yeah, maybe that's that. You know, I kind of like the spin of like, you know, they started off good, great intentions, but down the road, they became evil. And I could see that being the same case for the world government, where 900 years ago, yeah, they're all good and dandy. And then time goes on, they get lazy. They start getting slaves. And they start kind of reverting back to the old ways. But I mean, of course, that is all like headcanon. That's kind of just that's a story I like. I just like seeing relatable villains.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think the interesting thing about, because actually I saw your tweet where you said you think like they weren't in the wrong, basically, or like they had a good reason for doing what they did. Like, not that they're completely in the right today, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but
yeah.
The government, like their initial goal was noble, I guess is the idea. And I do like that. I think the one caveat, and I was going to actually respond to your tweet because I was going to be like, dude, I want the same thing, but there's this one thing that stands in the way of it. And it's that we know from the Tintata history books that the Don Quixote were terrible before the Void Century. Like, we know they were objectively bad, and they enslaved the Tintata and like made their whole country rich off of it. So right there, that kind of tells me like, okay, we know the 20 Kings were bad people, or at least some of them, right? Maybe like Lily was okay, and you know, we don't. I'm sure there was some differences between the 20. Like, there's probably a whole slew of personalities there, but because we know that one was evil, that tells me like, okay, so they were bad people. Like, they're maybe they did have a good reason, but we know they weren't good people. You know what I mean? Like, you could have both, where like they realized like, oh, we need to save the world, and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it could be both. But
two ways you could spin this though. One, the Don Quixote family could be just the one bad apple in the group, or maybe the Tontatas deserved it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Maybe the Tontatas, you know, maybe they need to be enslaved.
And you know, if that was true, then I think the townspeople should have known, because I'm pretty sure they were kept in the dark.
Yeah, they were.
I think they said something like the Tintata, like we were stuck like way in the dark of the caverns or whatever, and everyone else was above enjoying themselves, type of thing.
The Tontatas are kind of like the Smurfs, right?
Yeah, basically. That's like I think that's part of, I don't know if it's like their actual inspiration, but that's like the vibe I get from them.
Yeah, they're just over here farming like 24/7. You got like this creepy human guy just like, yes, please plant me more, Smurfette.
And something I brought up in my last video a lot that ties to all of what we're saying right here, because I really like the idea that they had like a noble cause originally. It's just, it's hard to find that, but I think part of what it could be is that, you know, I think the Void Century and even the last 800 years as a whole is basically a battle for Earth's resources. That's really the whole name of the game here, right? Because if you have the resources, you have the money, like resources as in natural resources, but also people and weapons, food, and you know, anything. Yeah, food, all that stuff. If you have that, you have power. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is how you have coercion. That's how you can get allies and create like a government, you know what I mean? Like, that's how you can rule with an iron fist. And if you look at the Don Quixote back then, they were super rich, right? Because of the Tintata. Like, they were able to take all that money, and, you know, like their townspeople were super rich too. But what that tells me is like, okay, so they probably had money to blow to buy weapons, to get an army,
they
to
were
do X, Y, Z.
And
I wonder if, you know, looking over at the Ancient Kingdom, the maybe one example we kind of have is the people from the moon, because like they were on the moon and they were really high tech, which probably ties to the Ancient Kingdom. The Shandorians ended up protecting a poneglyph, which ties to the Ancient Kingdom. So there seems to be a connection there, but they came down to the blue planet for resources. They ran out while they were up there, and they had to come down to like save themselves, basically. And so I wonder if that's a sign of like, maybe the Ancient Kingdom got so big and like so expansive that like there were people on other planets, and the population got really, really big, like of humans and just other races all around the universe, to where like they were running out of resources. Like Earth didn't have enough to support that many people, kind of thing. And so maybe that's where the government, maybe that's like kind of like their quote unquote noble cause, is they were like, hey, if you guys keep pushing this, you're gonna ruin the Earth for good, and it's gonna be a point of no return. And
like
we're all
Thanos.
cooked. We're gonna stop it right now so we can reset the population so it's a normal one that the Earth can sustain. Like that is like sort of like, because even if the 20 kings are evil, it could be more of a thing where Emu goes around like recruiting these 20 kings because they have the money, where he's like, hey, the Earth's gonna end and I need your help to save it, and if you help me with your money, I'll make you king of the world later, you know, like something like that.
I like that. It's like a whole debate, but I think that is a pretty noble cause, right? Like, hey, it's either us or them, you know, like one of us has to go. Like my prediction, like what if Emu or whoever was back then had like the no me, right? They're like Vegapunk. They're like, hey, just like a Vegapunk is saying the world is gonna sink, back then they could be like, hey, the world is gonna run out of resources, we have to do something.
I like that. Like this Earth is gonna, I don't know, like instead of sink into the ocean, what if it was like sink into itself or something? Because like they took all the resources like from the ground,
it's gonna swallow
it fell
itself
downward. Yeah, like it falls inward on itself. Because part of my theory also, which like this I like this idea, and I do mention in my video, but like I could see some other possibilities. But you know how the ancient kingdom symbol is like 8 planets around or 8 moons around a planet, or it looks kind of like that, like 8 dots around a circle. My thought on that is that the ancient kingdom did have other planets or moons or whatever, because even our current moon, like the One Piece moon, kind of seems like man-made, or at least like man-altered, right? And so I'm like, okay, maybe they had other planets, but what if they were consumed back into the Earth to make the red line? And the reason I like that is because what if like the planet was like what if the ancient kingdom, when they made those planets, like if we assume those moons were man-made, what if they used like the Earth to make those? So they actually took part of the Earth and put it out into space to orbit, and that could lead to where the government's like, hey, like the Earth you can't do this. Like the Earth's gonna fall in on itself because you're taking so much of the, you know, rock or whatever away from it. Like it's not stable anymore. Like we're gonna have earthquakes all the time, you know, all this stuff. And so that's why they brought the planets back and like merged it into the red line to like, I don't know, compact it back down or whatever. I don't know.
No, I like that. It's like Pangea but on crack.
Yes, exact. It's like Pangea, Pangea, because we were all together, but it's the whole Earth separated into space and then remerged back into Pangea, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be kind of nice. Yep. No, I like that. I mean, One Piece is gonna get goofy. Like, I mean, we do have space, like canon space pirates out there. So at some point, One Piece is going to take like this weird turn where we're just gonna get a bunch of wacky information. So I do like that idea.
And Vegapunk, who has been so closely tied to the Ancient Kingdom and is sort of like a current example of how the Ancient Kingdom came to be, sort of, right? We're seeing like his developments and all that stuff. His head is the same shape as the Space Pirates Jolly Roger.
Oh,
which to me that's like Oda signaling to us for sure that the Ancient Kingdom went to space, because if Vegapunk, the Ancient Kingdom parallel here, is tied to the Space Pirates in any way, even just the head shape alone is enough for me. That's like, okay, so the Ancient Kingdom also went to space. You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that's, I don't even know how Oda would avoid it at this point. You know, like if you're that advanced, you have to.
Now that I think about it, Enel kind of mimicked what happened during the Void Century, where he murdered all the Birkins.
Yep.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, I want to go over here. I'm gonna kill all you guys for no reason whatsoever. Why not?
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because if you go to like when he's using the Raigo, he creates a hole in the White Sea at Angel Island that looks exactly like the Lucia, but it's in a cloud. Like it's a giant dark hole, and it actually looks like Eni's lobby because above it is sunlight. It's like open.
Enel was too good for us, man.
He's coming back too, and Elbaf, but also, like, so he got the one attack off that destroyed Angel Island, but then Luffy stopped him before the second one. And I think a similar thing is about to happen. I bet you something like that happened in the Void Century, and something like that's about to happen now, where like the government only gets to do one hole before they get stopped by Joyboy, is the idea. Because you look at Eni's lobby, that's the only hole we saw, right, in the entire story until Leloucia happened. So the government got a, like they made one hole back in the day, and that was enough for them to like succeed. Apparently, like they didn't have to keep shooting it, because like Magellan and Doflamingo were talking like, well, if that raised the sea level by 1 meter, only 5 more, and almost everyone's submerged kind of thing. So they need to shoot more of those to actually flood everybody. But I think maybe Luffy will stop them, and they'll have to do a different plan, sort of, to flood or do whatever they're doing. And then maybe that's what happened in the Void Century. Like maybe they got rid of Enies Lobby. We're about to get rid of a second one, and Joyboy stopped them and stole the anti-Pluton back, or whatever the weapon was.
No, I like that. I'm on board with that. That's totally what I think too.
Yeah, man, we're gonna find out soon, probably.
Oh yeah, we're coming up, man. And speaking of coming up, we should also be seeing the Holy Knights pretty soon too. I feel like once we leave Egghead Island, we're gonna see what they're all up to. We're gonna see what nations they're raiding for rations. And as far as the Holy Knights go, like what are you expecting personally?
Yeah, man, I'm so glad you asked, because that's something that I need to think about more, because they are gonna matter in a major way, and Oda made them for a really good reason. You know what I mean? Because they got introduced pretty recently. Like I know the panel was Dragon talking about like, oh, like when they get out, things are serious. Like that was basically what he was saying. Like whenever they start moving, we're talking. But we did actually hear about them before, because they mentioned that like the God's Knights would judge Mjosgard for the Sheer Hoshi thing. So we had like a mention of them, but generally they're like a pretty new coalition, and they're really important because they can, like make judgments on the celestial dragons, which is crazy.
They're like celebrities, man. Like, dude, when Garland was there, they were cheering this guy on.
They're superstars, dude. They're like what the celestial dragons think they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and this, I think this might tie back to
they're
what
like
we were
Kim
saying.
Jong-un.
Yeah, exactly.
I just saw a video where Kim Jong-un was going on a boat, and then you had like 200 people like in the water, like, no, Kim Jong-un, come back.
Yeah, they're like you. Sprinting into the water.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And then they like goofily like jump up and down like Kim Jong-un.
I don't want to laugh, because obviously it's like terrible.
Yeah, they're being tortured into it, but
exactly. Like if they don't do it,
video.
their families are getting eliminated.
Jump in the water now.
Yeah, exactly. So like I don't want to laugh, but it is crazy how that's even a thing. You know what I mean? Like that. Like just from like Kim Jong-un's perspective, like, I mean, obviously,
he's gotta know it's fake, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
He's gotta know it's fake. He's not. I mean, he's probably not the smart. I don't know. Maybe he is smart, but like, yeah, he's gotta know. He's got. You doubt he's smart?
Define smart in this context.
Yeah, I don't know how I would define it, but
yeah, is he socially aware? Is he smart? Is he smart like an evil mastermind? Like, does he know all the strings he's pulling? I think so. Like, I think he knows, that it's all fake, that he's doing it for propaganda purposes, that like, he needs to keep doing these things, otherwise like he'll maybe lose control, or like his family will, or whatever. But I don't think he's smart. Like he doesn't know math or physics. You know what I mean? Like
okay, yeah, same.
Yeah, like he's an evil mastermind, but not even like a mastermind. He got gifted the situation, But,
yeah, it's handed to him on a silver platter.
Yeah, and I think I actually heard a story about someone in North Korea trying to read One Piece. I'm gonna look this up.
Wait, let me look this up too.
I know I'll put it this way. I know I read something where someone in North Korea got in trouble for reading a manga. I just can't remember if it was One Piece.
Do North Koreans watch anime?
I don't think they're allowed to. I think they have to like VPN it.
Yeah, there's
like
no
really
way. Like the minute like the world government comes into play, they're like, yo, no. Overthrowing the government, revolutionary. Yeah, they're the biggest dragon haters. Actually, I like to imagine that.
Apparently, they have their own anime and manga, like North Korean versions.
Ooh, they're reading Two Piece over there. Yo, yeah. Now that I think about it, they probably have like a Two Piece. Like somebody reads One Piece and then they do like the exact opposite.
It's like the ultimate like 4Kids version. You know what I mean? Like it's like completely changed, and like Kim Jong-un is Gold Roger and Luffy at the same time.
Yeah. The celestial dragons are actually the good guys.
Yep. The celestial. Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's great. No, I love this.
Dude.
How do we get here again? Holy Knights?
But we're talking about to say, the Holy Knights, though. I do want to talk about them because, because Oda, like I said, like they're a relatively new addition, but they are so important, right? Like like I said, judge celestial dragons or whatever, but like dragon putting that kind of respect on their name, like that carries a lot of weight.
He
for
wasn't
me,
even worried
you know
about
what
the
I mean?
Gorosei, dude. He
Yeah,
didn't even
he
talk about
says
those
that-
guys.
Exactly. And so what the way I'm kind of viewing this is like, as far as when the God's Knights are going to come in to play and what they're going to do exactly, I'm lost on that. I don't know where Oda's going with that, and like when he's going to deploy the God's Knights. Like that's the thing that I really don't know. But I do think that whenever they come into play, like obviously Dragon's going to have to tie to it, and it's going to be like a climactic thing, whatever it is. Like Oda, like I could see a world where maybe Oda like sends one God's Knight to like each maybe like rebelling country maybe, or
Ooh,
something like
yeah.
that, because like I think we saw 9 in that image, and there's 8 rebelling countries. One just got deleted, but whatever. And so maybe like they spread them out. That's one thing I could kind of see. But like, you know, if they get spread out, it's like, okay, like when does Dragon fight one of them? You know, like that's really what I want. Because Dragon, I don't think is gonna like lose to one, but he's definitely gonna fight one. It's not gonna be like his biggest fight in the story, but he has to.
Yeah.
Since he brought him up, I just feel like that's, you know.
He has to like run through at least one of them at the bare minimum.
Yeah. And I would imagine Garling, but like I don't think he would beat Garling. You know what I mean? Like that would be.
I feel like Garling would be somebody else's opponent, like maybe Shanks, for example.
If there's time, you know, because he and Blackbeard are going to be fighting soon.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how does this all fit in, right? Like what is the order of events for Shanks and all these other characters? I actually would love if the Holy Knights went to like places we knew already, outside of like the rebelling countries. Like maybe one goes to Goa Kingdom and kills Dadan, for example. I think that'd be pretty sick. I think I just want murder, to be honest. Just go, send one to Orangetown, or not Orangetown. Yeah, Orangetown with Mayor Boodle, kill him. Huh?
If you hurt Shushu, you know what I mean? Like if
burn
I see,
down the pet store.
yeah, that's what I'm cool with all the other stuff the God's Knights want to do, but if they try touching the pet store, that's where we cross the line.
Maybe send one to Nami's hometown, Kokoyashi Village, and have them kill Gin. Again, I was about to say, like, Gin, the guy who's coming back for sure, definitely. Gin is done, Krieg. Hey, just like how you believe that Enel will come back in Elbaf, I believe that Don Krieg and Gin will come back on Elbaf too.
Why do you think Elbaf specifically?
Because Don Krieg was touted to have one of the strongest armors in the world made out of wood steel. So where does he go from there? He makes an armor out of atom wood.
All right. I like it.
I mean, it's like a bad idea, but
I mean, well, I like the idea because what I was gonna say was, you know, Shanks is closely tied to Elbaf, and Shanks's crew is all like basically loosed on like drinks or liquids in general. Not all of them, but like Shanks said, like the best sake he had was from his hometown, so that like kind of fits. But like Lucky Roo, like a Roo, you know, is like a liquid. It's like flour and oil or whatever, right? Combined or whatever it is. There's Bonk Punch. There's lime juice. Yasop is called Chaser, which, you know, like after you take a shot or whatever. So like a lot of them have ties to like drinks in general or alcohol specifically. Some of them at least. Because even like Bonk Punch, like there's like alcoholic punches, like a jungle juice type thing, like that's super common.
Yeah.
Lime juice, like that's also a pretty common like thing to add into, like, you know, like lime margarita or whatever, you know what I mean? So anyways, like these are pretty common, you know, drink things.
Oh, and then
so
Monster.
Going over to Gin, oh yeah, Monster, which, you know,
it's a
just
mixer.
Oda know about Monster, maybe. But then you go over to Gin, well, his name's actually like Gin, like it's spelled like gin, like the alcohol. And so I wonder if, you know, he's going to have a tie to Shanks. Like, what if he is a part of, like, Shanks's, like, crappy fleet? You know what I mean? Like, that's where him and Krieg ended up. And so what if he is at Elbaf because he's, you know, ties to Shanks? Like, what if he's left there to defend it in Shanks' stead or something, you know?
I just looked up Krieg to see if there's, like, any alcohol for it. But apparently there's a Krieg Lambic, which is a beer. Which, not exactly spelt the same, but, I mean, it's a stretch, but I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oda's doing something with the drink thing with Shanks' crew for sure. Because like, I mean, he's already like the Bink Sake thing, like they sang Bink Sake, you know. So it's like, I don't know, he's doing something.
I just hope Don Krieg comes back. I mean, I remember one of his original designs was the Krieg 5000, where he was like a part robot monster.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. It's so I sometimes go through like weird One Piece wiki or like early concept designs, and for Don Krieg, let me see if I can find it. But I think he was actually called like the Don Krieg 5000. Let me see. Oh, the Krieg 9000. Sorry, he was a cyborg. It was in One Piece Databook Green. Yeah, he looks so crazy.
Wait, dude. Real Elbaf theory here, because I guess to lead into this, I'm very, very like 100% confident that the cross skill is going to show up in Elbaf, and a big part of that, there's a lot of reasons, but a big part is, Mr. 3 already tied to the Giants from Little Garden, and Mr. 3 is a part of the Cross Guild. Elbaf's where the Giants are. Getting Cross Guild back there and having Mr. 3 wreak some more havoc on the Giants, give me that. I want that. But when I look at Krieg's armor here, the Krieg 9000, it kind of reminds me of like the suit that Mr. 3 made Luffy out of wax.
Yeah.
A little bit. And so what if Krieg does show up and he gets a giant, like, improved wax armor, like with awakened wax or whatever? And so he actually does. Because maybe, like, Mr. 3 needs help beating Luffy. Maybe Krieg is down to, like, help.
People would hate that, dude.
Would hate it.
Like,
he would get no diffed. He would get no diff.
Yeah,
you know
like,
what I mean?
For me, and I'm assuming you too, like, I love it when One Piece gets really goofy. So having Don Krieg come back on Elbaf with a giant wax armor to wreak havoc on the Giants, that sounds like a fever dream that I would welcome with open arms. But I know, dude, like, a lot of people are going to be like, ugh, like, why is Krieg back here, this East Blue villain? Because, like, that's the reaction people had with Rob Lucci. Like, Rob Lucci came back, they're like, oh, like, why is this leopard guy here? Why is he trying to fight Luffy again? It's like, dude, these guys, like, they're, like, like, I doubt they're going to lose once and then, just give up entirely. Like, there's some characters who have that dog in them, and I feel like Don Krieg is that type of guy. He's kind of like Rob Lucci, where he would definitely want to, like, rerun the match. Actually, Don Krieg, after he lost, this is a feat, but Don Krieg lost consciousness and then got back up out of sheer willpower. Dude, that's Conqueror's hockey. True. That's Conqueror's hockey, man. Give it to Don Krieg.
Dude, and speaking of Lucci, man, go take another look at the Krieg 9000. Does that not look like a leopard, like, outfit?
It's spotted, yeah.
Yeah, it's like because it's kind of like the shirt he wore. It had like a similar style to that. That's why Oda did that, I think. And also, there's all those moons. They look like kind of like moons, also. So I wonder if that's something. But yeah, about Lucci. Because the thing with Lucci for me is that like, him coming back is one thing. Because, I mean, that's like, it can be good or bad depending on how Oda does it. But I really didn't like how they teamed up, like Lucci and Luffy with, and Zoro and Kaku. Like,
that was
the team
nice.
Up thing. Because for me, I'm like, Luffy, this guy is terrible. And like, even if you think you can stop him, like, all he needs to do is get away from you for a second and he's going to kill somebody, which he did. Well, almost with Stussy. He tried to. She
looks like she's dying, though. I mean, she's like shivering every time we see her. It's like death's cold embrace.
Oda's doing that thing he loves to do where, like, they're dead, but not yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. After she hits that button, she's gone.
Yeah, she's having a Monet moment.
Maybe.
Which either she's gone or getting captured by Cypher Pole and punished for being a traitor. One of the two.
Here's my theory. I actually think Stussy is going to survive, and we are going to learn about her vampire powers. So I have a theory that Mihawk comes from a family of actual vampires. Like, I have a theory that all the Holy Knights are actually like the Gorosei, where they're based on, like, real monsters, and they're not just straight up devil fruits. It might be something akin to it, but it's not devil fruits. So I think that all of the Holy Knights will have some sort of mythical transformation. My theory is that, like, Shanks is from a family of werewolves, with Garling being a werewolf, Mihawk maybe from vampires, and then Stussy got her power from the said vampire Holy Knight.
Interesting. I kind of like. I love the vampire kind of idea, especially with Mihawk. And actually, okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. And by the way, I can stay a little bit longer.
Are you sure?
Because my meeting got moved. So yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, how long do we have? Just so I know, like, when to bow out. Which for you guys listening, we have like a strict deadline at first, but now It's opened up.
Yeah, my boss just texted me, hey, we're gonna have the meeting at 3:30 instead of 2:30, so we got an hour.
Beautiful.
But if we could end maybe in 35 minutes, so I can go get lunch first.
Oh, perfect. Cool. Yeah. That sounds great.
Cool.
We'll get you out of here in 30, not 35.
Perfect. That'd be great. Something I wanted to bring up to you regarding the vampire stuff. Did you notice in the Mother Flame page?
Yes.
With, you see Saturn in the corner looking like a vampire seeing the sunlight.
Yep, it was reminiscent of like when the kids were teasing Bonnie about being a vampire too, which is recent. You know, Oda brought the word vampire in pretty recently.
That's true. That is very, very true. I mean, because like for Stussy, I would like I think her having like a fruit, like a bat fruit or whatever, I think that's possible. But I would really like it more if she's from like a race of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she has the DNA spliced in. And then maybe Mihawk is like a half and half or something of that race. Yeah, man, we got to figure out how Shanks got like abandoned. You know, like was it that he actually got abandoned, or was it that Roger like took him because, you know, like he didn't want a kid to like live in that? Because like we saw that like they found a treasure chest, but is it like I guess my question is like did Garling or whoever was taking care of Shanks, did they just say screw it and leave him behind, or was he forcefully taken from them? You know, like did Roger go and take a bunch of treasure and like not knowing what was in all the treasure chests and just ran away, or like what exactly happened? Because I think once we kind of have that, it really helps us put together the pieces. Because like let's say the Celestial Dragons let Shanks get taken, like they didn't really care about like their kid that much, which seems really weird to me. But then that gives us a you know, an idea where it's like, okay, well maybe Mihawk was just discarded or something, you know what I mean? Like maybe they genuinely don't care about Celestial Dragon kids, which we kind of saw with Bonnie already, even though she's like a half and half, you know, like Ginny and whatever other Celestial Dragon, they just like kicked them both out of the whole place. They didn't really care. So yeah, I mean, or Mihawk could be like a bastard child of some kind, you know what I mean? Like
I think bastard child works pretty well, but yeah, it's weird when you think about Shanks, because like they found him at God Valley. So it's like, yo, somebody brought a kid over here. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you want to be genocidal, that's fine. You know, like, you know, if you have a weird weekend hobby, hey, low be it for me to judge, right?
Go for it.
Yeah, but like they brought Shanks to that like rabbit hunting tournament, and he was in a treasure chest. So what if like, well, okay, so we know Garling apparently was a front runner to win, right? He got a lot of points. It looked like he would have been first place. I mean, he is the champion of God Valley. That is his title. So it's like, yo, like, what if this was supposed to be like a surprise for Garling? Like, what if, you know, he had a girlfriend or a wife or something, they had a kid, and then since they knew he was going to win, they put their son in the treasure chest so that when he wins, they're like, hey, here's your prize. And he opens it. It's like, oh my God, it's my son. You know, like maybe it was supposed to be super wholesome. And then Roger, because he's a pillager, which I gotta say, Roger's a really bad guy. But, you know, Roger stole the chest, and then boom, Shanks is in there. And now it's supposed to be Garling's prize that they stole.
Interesting. So, yeah, I mean, that would be really crazy if, like, because, I mean, I think the assumption is that, like, all the prizes were devil fruits, right?
Yeah.
But then if Shanks was one of the prizes, what if Shanks was made in a test tube?
With Shanks, I feel like there is a chance, like, so, you know, so my headcanon theory is that, like, all the Gorosei and Holy Knights have, like, actual transformations. So my wacky theory with Shanks and why he's so special is because he might have a special transformation. Like, maybe he's a unique one out of the bunch.
That's interesting. So I guess I'm curious how, like, is it just part of, like, their lineage? Like, it's just, like, a natural...
It could be, like, the lineage. It could be, like, So you know how you said like earlier on that all these celestial dragons might be able to turn into a real dragon per se? I feel like it could be the same thing, but like with a different spin. What if some of them can turn into real dragons, but other ones get like the yokai forms, or maybe they get the werewolf or the vampire? It's kind of like Fishman, because the Fishman, you know, as long as there's one in their lineage, they will give birth to a certain type of fish. So maybe like the celestial dragons are the same way, where some of them get like these special transformations. And for me, my theory is that Shanks could be a griffin, because, you know, he has like the sword named Griffin, but also like there have been a couple of instances where I'm like, yo, like Shanks is strange because, like, for example, Shanks stopped Kaido and King from going to Marineford just the day before the whole event went down. And it's like, yo, like Kaido and King are two characters who can fly. Like, how did Shanks like stop them? I mean, yes, he could have used Wi-Fi hockey, but it like if he met them in the sky, that'd be pretty crazy. And then another thing I thought about too is in film Red, whenever we see Luffy and Shanks use their final attack on Tot Musica, Luffy actually takes the form of an eagle, or Luffy takes the form of a lion, and then Shanks takes the form of an eagle. And then they mixed, like, these two attacks mixed together, and it actually makes a griffin in that final attack. So I'm like, I wonder if that's like a hint that, you know, Shanks could be a griffin, which I know is like very crazy and out of nowhere, but, you know, it's like I said, it's all headcanon right now, you know, based on the assumption that these guys can transform.
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting because I also think, you know, like Shanks and Blackbeard are very closely linked together. And I'm almost positive that Blackbeard can like transform when he falls asleep, you know, like,
yeah,
because they said like he can't sleep or they die if they do or whatever. But like they say the same kind of thing for Sulong. Like if you know, fall asleep, or if you look at the moon and turn into Sulong, you can, you know, like tire yourself out and die from it. So it's not that Sulong actually kills you outright. It's like you just have to know how to use it kind of thing. And I think Blackbeard would probably have the same type of thing. Like if he falls asleep, he transformed into something crazy. And so then for Shanks to be able to also transform, I think that actually makes a lot of sense just to like kind of, you know, link them together a little bit more. And I think something else that maybe is worth considering is that like I could see the angle where like it's a lineage thing and these people just transform because of, you know, it's just in their DNA or whatever. But I could also see a world where, what if like they clone the God's Knights every time because the God's Knights have that power? Like, remember how they said for Bonnie that they like took an extract of the fruit because they tried giving, like, they wanted the powers to pass on to the infant or whatever, right? From like whenever they're pregnant or whatever. What if it's the same kind of thing where like the God's Knights are either cloned or like they're treated when pregnant or whatever, kind of like with Bonnie and Ginny, and so like the kids that are born are given powers, but they aren't devil fruit powers per se. It's kind of like Sanji, right? Like Sanji was altered in the womb or whatever, and like all of his brothers, and like Sanji was kind of like different because like they were all supposed to be bio-enhanced, but Sanji's the one who got turned normal. What if it's like a reverse type situation where they can turn the future God's Knights, like they can give them whatever powers they want without like the side effects?
I like that.
I like that too. Yeah. That actually, yeah, because that would also make losing Shanks like hurt more because it's like, okay, well, it's not easy to make those things, you know, like,
yeah, it's not cheap, you know, it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of gooning.
Yeah, like that's one of our most powerful forces ever, and you have it now, and maybe that's why they don't want to kill Shanks, is because like they're hoping to take Shanks back, or maybe they have a mechanism to control Shanks, but they need to wait for a certain time period or day.
Oh yeah. And you know, if we wanted to like skirt the science route too, I think there's another argument that could be made that the Eve tree is also doing this to them. Just like how the moon like gives people transformations with Sulong, maybe the sunlight tree Eve has a similar effect in a way where like if you're by the tree, like you get infected with whatever this is, like some weird transformations, which I know is a little bit silly, but you know,
I mean,
at some point the Eve tree is going to come in. I don't know when, but
for sure
it's there.
No, I agree. I mean, like it's like a little bit of a spoiler for I guess a future video, but I definitely think the Eve tree and the Adam tree somehow are related with devil fruit powers, and so then for the sunlight tree Eve to be able to gift powers another way, or maybe for it to be able to be used or channeled in some way to give powers, that makes a lot of sense, especially if it, you know, made the first ones, right?
Yeah.
So I actually like that, and that could be why they protect the sunlight tree Eve, or presumably we don't actually know this, but if we assume the sunlight tree Eve is like in the red line, and like the top of it is right by hey, come here buddy, and the top of it is right by you know, like Mariejois or inside Mariejois, then that's why they're protecting it. Like they want to be able to make more fruits or use it to give their God's Knights powers without the side effects or whatever. Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, man, these celestial dragons, dude, they got a lot of stuff up there. So
yeah. Not a lot of food though.
The next question is, if you were enslaved by the celestial dragons. Yeah, okay. No, never mind. I don't know where I'm going with that one.
I was gonna say, what would be my least favorite punishment?
Yeah. What would you not want to do? So like, we saw the celestial dragons. They were over there like pushing the little roads for the attendants of the reverie. Would you want to be on that duty, or would you want to be like a personal house slave? Would you want to be tending to the Sunlight Tree Eve? Where would you see yourself in the slavery hierarchy?
Oh man, that's really tough. I mean, I think if I got to choose, which I definitely would not get to, but
I got to choose
but if
where
I
I was
did,
put.
yeah, they're like, what do you want to apply to? Like, what job?
Yeah, what job do you want?
I think, I think the guys who were pushing the road, that's like a good workout. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's monotonous. Now I am getting I think the guy had a whip back there.
Yeah, he did. He did have a whip.
It was definitely swinging it, but because I'm thinking if I'm like helping in the house, I mean, who knows what dumb stuff I'm gonna get involved in, or dirty stuff I gotta clean or do. There's like all who know that I could have easy days there where maybe like they're out on a mission and I just get to chill at the house. Maybe, but and I also think if I'm like pushing the roads, like how often are the roads used?
You're right.
Like that was only because it was the reverie. So maybe I'm just like, maybe like they hired a bunch there. It was like hiring season, and so maybe that's why. But maybe it's not normally like that hard. So yeah, I mean if I could tend to the Sunlight Tree Eve, I would like to, but I have a feeling that like the survival rate of that job is not high.
Yeah.
Like because like it's probably one of those things where like once you do it for a while, they're like, yeah, he knows a lot. We should just wipe him out and get a different one because we just don't even want him.
Yeah, I feel like living at Mariejois as a regular human's like playing life on hard mode, right? Like there's so many little twists and turns that could get you killed. Like looking at a celestial dragon the wrong way, knowing too much information, finding the phantom room, not pushing the road fast enough or pushing it too fast. Yeah, here's a hot take. I think living as a celestial dragon slave is a pretty cursed life.
Is that a hot take?
It shouldn't be. But I have to say that for the people in the back.
Yeah, it might be. Now watch we come to find out the slaves actually get taken care of.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's like Zunisha, right? Like we all expect Zunisha to show up and put out Wano's fire, but maybe it's the same thing here. Maybe we get to the celestial dragons, and then the slaves are like, "Hey, you know what? It's actually kind of nice. we
don't want to be
on
free.
Sundays. Yeah, I don't want to be free.
We only work however many days a week. Like it's not that bad. I mean, I highly doubt that's the case, but I think it would be kind of cool if we got some insight into like the politics of being a slave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if there's like some people who get like better roles and like maybe they're kind of happy with it. Like I don't know.
Oh, like Tequila Wolf, right? Because at Tequila Wolf, they were all enslaved, but there was some of them who actually not liked the life, but they sucked up to their masters just so that they could get like a little reward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and Mariejois is probably a little bit nicer than Tequila Wolf is. So I mean, I could maybe see, something. I mean, like, I guess here's what I'm thinking. Like, you compare it to like Wano, and everyone in Wano was just suffering outright. Like, even if they weren't a slave, it's like everything's poison. There's who knows what terrible things are going to happen in a given day with the smile users or whatever the gifters, right? I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
And like the havoc they wreak and stuff. It's like any given day could just be hell there. And don't get me wrong, like being a slave is also every day is hell. But like if you're in Mariejois and like, the celestial dragons go like on a little vacation or something, I mean, you're kind of chilling, maybe. I mean, they might just throw you in a cell the whole time and but.
Oh,
I don't know
wait. Now that I think about it, No, okay, wait. The Revs did save a lot of slaves. Yeah, right? They did when they were up there?
I think so. You mean like in the recent Reverie?
Yeah.
Well...
It didn't say it out right. We saw some slaves like running about.
Well, Sabo said, all 3 objectives were taken care of. We officially declared war by destroying the Celestial Dragon symbol. We rescued Kuma-san and freed as many slaves as possible. So,
okay.
So he accomplished that.
Okay, I was about to say because whatever slaves are left at Mariejois, they're gonna be living hell next. Like, because
Oh,
since they
yeah.
have no food, it's like, yo, they're not gonna feed the slaves anymore, man. Like those guys are.
That's true.
Yeah, they're gonna
they're
get tossed to the
first ones.
wayside.
Oh yeah, they're the first ones getting cut from the rotation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The first one's getting cut. Damn.
Yeah, like,
rest in peace,
whenever
those guys.
the food's short. I mean, they probably don't even get food as it is.
Honestly, I think I'd hold a grudge against the Revs. It's like, brother, you could have freed me too. I'm still up here.
Yeah, honestly. Oh man, and that actually reminds me of like a kind of a fun idea for like maybe like emus. I don't know about emu's origin exactly, but I think it would be kind of cool if like emu was kind of like the dragon of the past, trying to like stop the ancient kingdom. I don't know. I don't think the ancient kingdom had slaves, but like, what if like the ancient kingdom, I don't know, at least had robot slaves or something, which like aren't as bad. But like, what if emu kind of like felt bad for him, and like that like started emu's like entire reign. Like I don't see. Like it's tough to like tie that all together, but I just feel like emu being in a place where like the ancient kingdom was doing bad things, and maybe emu was like, I think it'd be really cool if emu's experience with slavery before emu took over or whatever, that kind of like inspired their entire reign and like led to today. Like I think it'd be kind of cool if emu like doesn't like slaves, but the celestial dragons like they just do their own thing or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, maybe emus, I don't know.
Maybe his race was previously enslaved.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough because like I don't think the ancient kingdom would be enslaving humans. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's like really tough to like weave that together. But I think emu is definitely going to have like some sad backstory with slaves. Like like not. I think emu being a slave is just that's probably a good call. I feel like, and then emu became a king because if you look at like Stelly wasn't originally like nobility.
He got adopted
and then killed his parents and like rose all the way to the top. I could definitely see a thing where like emu started as a slave or maybe like and hated it and like just ended up getting to the point to where now they're like the ultimate slave master kind of thing.
Yeah, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. So Dragon, I wonder, because Dragon is a good dude, but he's going around kind of wreaking havoc against the government in a way that like he's going and it's a good war, but he's making these countries start wars against the government, right? And it's necessary to combat what the government's doing and to take them down. But he is like kind of creating war in a lot of these places, like kind of like a terrorist, but like good terror in that regard. And he goes up to Mariejois and like destroys the food reserves, which like, okay, like good, like you want to destroy their supply chains and hit them where it hurts, kind of, because like that's what they care about. And what's going to happen is the celestial dragons are going to complain now, and there's going to be like some discord among the celestial dragons and marines, like we saw with Akainu, like where's my lobster at? It's like it makes them upset, but at the same time, like Sanji would never destroy the food reserves, no matter what. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I think it's fair to say like Sanji, like that's a good thing to have. You shouldn't destroy edible food because it's hard to eat out at sea and all that stuff. And so I guess the point is just, I wonder if Dragon is going to like kind of keep pushing the line here. And eventually it's going to get to a point where he's like, okay, am I now becoming a bad guy? Like, because I want war so bad and I want to end this so bad. And then for Emu, that might be the same thing that happened to Emu, is like Emu maybe wanted something good and was like Dragon back in the day. And this is like, I think what I was actually going to say earlier and I couldn't remember because of the first text message. But Emu maybe back in the day was like a slave or witnessed slavery and was sad or whatever and kind of became Dragon and started all these wars to take over. But then by the end ended up being the biggest slave master of all or whatever and running the world. And maybe like there's going to be a thing where Emu like looks at Dragon and is like you remind me of me.
It's like looking in a mirror
20 years ago. Yeah, like you're just like me. Like if I didn't have to kill you, you could have been a great member of my group. And Dragon will be like, nah, like I'm nothing like you. And Emu's like, well,
you're everything like me.
That's what you think for now.
You're literally,
you know what I mean?
You're named Dragon. You're just like a celestial dragon. Come on, you're halfway there.
Yep, yeah. Whatever Oda's cooking with because Dragon, Akainu, and Emu, like, because Dragon and Akainu are like the same age, both were Marines, all that. We know they're going to connect in some way. But I think Oda's going to do the same kind of thing with Emu, where like there's like shades of dragon within Emu, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for Dragon. I want to see him do some stuff. I want to see like what his role is going to be in the future. Because Dragon for me is one of those characters I honestly like. Even when we met him at Logtown, I didn't really like him too much, which is a crazy thing to say based off of one interaction. But you know, Dragon for me has always been like he's kind of like been middle of the road. And even now, like in the final saga, like I know he's going to be like this big important character, but I've never exactly liked him just from a design standpoint. So,
just from a design standpoint?
Yeah,
I mean,
design standpoint, I mean, what he's done for the story, just the Revolutionaries as a whole. Like, there's nothing for me that I've liked out of Dragon.
Yeah, I think his design could have been better. I mean, I think a lot's going to change depending on his powers and like when he actually gets fighting. Because like at this point, I kind of just hate seeing his face because I'm like,
same.
Dude, go do something. You know, like you're like, it's like Akainu at this point. We're like, don't even show me him. Like I'm good because like, he's
Akainu at least fought Kuma like 20 chapters ago. You know, like at least he's still moving around doing some things here and there.
But I mean, Kuma came to him. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Akainu was waiting for him though, right? Like Akainu, he left that desk.
I mean, yeah, but he's still up there. Like, well, I guess, well, he was probably a new Marineford and came up. I would imagine is how that worked, probably. So I guess, but still, I mean, New Marineford's right by the red line, so it's like he just, you know, Krakatoa'd up to the top, and you know,
there's just like a lava pillar now, just forever there.
Yeah, which that actually would be kind of cool. I wonder if.
Oh yeah, like, dude, Akainu could literally create islands.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he could go find the One Piece in a year, as Oda said.
Yeah, Akainu's just that crazy.
Like the craziest thing Oda's ever said, in my opinion, or one of them. That Akainu could do that.
Oda's just dropping that. Like I think he said that after Marineford, right? Like
I think so.
After Marineford, he was like,
year.
"Yeah, Akainu could find the One Piece in 1 year." It's like, damn, wow, jeez, like, dude, this guy. Like,
damn, like it. And here's the thing.
Oh man,
you could hear that and think, oh, he just means like Akainu's such a beast that he's gonna be able to go find it. You know what I mean? Like he's just so strong and smart and whatever. I think it's more like Akainu's devil fruit makes it easy to find it because he can just like jump in a volcano and like go into like the core of the earth or whatever. And maybe that's where the one like Laugh Tale is. Or maybe he could just go in there and like, I don't know, like sense it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I'm with all the lava. Like what feels out of place or something in the world? Like, oh, there's a gap over here in this, you know, area. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, and he could also fast travel with the lava because there's lava like under, you know, the seabed everywhere. So yeah, I think Oda's hinting that lava is going to be part of like not getting a Laugh Tale per se. Like if you take the normal route, you can probably skip it, but maybe like the reason why nobody can find it normally is because lava is in the way, but Akainu can skip it or something like that. I think is what's going to happen.
I wouldn't mind that, but hey, like even then, like he would still need. Well, I guess in that scenario he wouldn't need it, but like I think he could get the poneglyphs too. Like if Akainu had a crew behind him, if Akainu was a pirate and he had like his own crew, oh my god, that crew would go so hard.
Oh, insane.
Like Akainu has the Marines right now, but like he didn't get to choose these Marines. Like they kind of just enlisted. But if Akainu went around the world like cherry picking like subordinates, oh my goodness, this guy would be a madman.
He would only pick like the most cutthroat people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the people he'd probably have on his crew, like he'd probably get Green Bull. He'd probably get Tensei. Because it seems like him and Tensei are boys.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know. Like he would definitely kill Kobe.
What pirate could you see? Yeah, he would kill Kobe. What pirate would you see on his crew? Like out of the people we know so far? Like if they weren't already affiliated with their current pirate group, who do you think would join Akainu?
Crocodile, maybe.
Yeah, I could see Crocodile.
Like yeah, because like if it's a thing where Croc can join him, because he already like follows Buggy, so that he kind of already dropped that, you know, that layer of like I need to be the captain, even though he kind of is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I think an Akainu's strong enough to where it's like, you know, Croc knows that he gets to have like a utopia that he wants or whatever if he works with him. So I think Croc is a good one.
I could see Shiryu on his team. Maybe.
I like that too. Yeah, no, that's a good one because he like killed the prisoners. Like Akainu would probably do the same thing if he was an Impel Down.
Yeah, just kill the prisoners, and he would be like a nice swordsman to have. And
Yeah,
just like Akainu and just like Crocodile, Shiryu is also constantly smoking a cigar.
True. So wow. So okay. So everyone needs to smoke to be on Akainu's crew. So Smoker, though, ironically, probably is not going to be on this group.
Yeah, Smoker wouldn't.
He's too soft at this point. Man.
Queen? No. If he had a scientist, who would it be? Would it be Judge, Queen?
Caesar.
Oh, Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar does not care. Caesar does not care about anything. Whatever it takes to get the job done.
Oh, dude, Caesar and Crocodile, that combo would go so hard because, Caesar, just like Vegapunk and the rest of them, he's limited by his funding, but Crocodile is all about that wealth. They would be like an iconic duo, Caesar and Croc.
That's so smart. Yeah. I mean, Croc, that's the main thing to build things like that you need is resources, like money and resources. So
this feels like fantasy football,
Croc
man.
To kind of fill that gap. I mean, I've been wondering what's going to happen with Neomads, and I feel like them working with Cross Guild seems kind of likely.
Yeah, I could see them working with Cross Guild. I could also see them just being their own entity entirely because they have like the Jerma Okoku. And then I could see them like maybe taking on Saturn or like getting revenge for Vegapunk's death because they want to one-up him. Like at least Caesar does. Caesar wants to one-up Vegapunk, but now that he's dead, he doesn't have that chance. But I guess like at that point,
cool.
The only way to one-up somebody who's dead is to beat whatever beat them. It's kind of like Douglas Bullet. Douglas Bullet was like, oh, like Roger, that's my guy. And then Roger died. He's like, oh, I'm going to fight the world. I'm going to survive a Buster call. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, this is the thing with Neomads, like kind of operating on their own and going like to get revenge for Vegapunk or whatever, however you want to frame it, because like they don't like Vegapunk, but you know what I mean, like they wanted to kill him themselves or whatever. The thing for me is like it would be really hard for me to see Oda bringing Neomads in and doing something like that unless they're roped in with a bigger group. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Like, it's really hard for me to see, like, a actual stretch of chapters where it's just Neomads doing something. Like, it's got to be Neomads.
Plus
like,
someone else.
Cross-Guild, like I said, they could also work for Blackbeard. I think that would be kind of cool. Because, like, I still think Blackbeard's going to end up with York. Especially if the Mother Flame gets destroyed. Because then the government has no need for York, because York needs that power source to create more Mother Flame. So if the first one gets destroyed, then what's the point?
Yeah.
So I think then that would be more of a reason for her to go to Blackbeard, because she can still like make the Seraphim and stuff. Like she knows how to do all that probably. So.
Oh no, I like Cross Guild now. Yeah, no, you're right. I like Cross Guild with them.
Yeah, because like that's the other thing is like let's say Frankie upgrades himself with Vegapunk, like he gets smarter and can make better technology because of Vegapunk or Lilith or whoever, whatever, and then Neomads maybe goes to Cross Guild to boost their science game, and then Blackbeard gets York to boost his science game, and then all you need is Shanks to get some science stuff, but he might just lose to Blackbeard maybe in the meantime. But yeah, man. I think everyone needs to get a scientist.
No, yeah, and then with Cross Guild too is I have a theory that they're gonna get like all the former warlords, and I think Weevil is gonna be a part of that group. Yeah. And Weevil is inherently tied to Miss Bakken, who was a part of like the original Mads team. So if that were to happen, then that would bring in Weevil for Cross Guild, but that'd also bring in Bakkens and the rest of the Neomads into the mix. And even Queen, because Queen was Queen is also in Impel Down right now.
I like that.
And we get Doflamingo.
Yeah, that's actually the topic of my next video is the Impel Down like breakout, or like how that is all going to happen, because I think getting Weevil out of there is the main point of it. Like whenever the Impel Down breakout happens, it's going to be because they're going after Weevil. Like Because like I do agree that Doflamingo and like in Mr. 2, for example, are gonna get out and join the Cross Guild. But the thing I've always thought is like, there's no real reason for the Cross Guild to go and do that.
Oh,
like like Croc should know firsthand that it's impossible to get out of there. Like they got lucky with Luffy coming in and causing all the trouble to get out, right? Like they would not sit there and have a plan like, all right, we're going to go break into this impenetrable fortress and go get everyone out a second time. Like that's so hard to happen once. You know what I mean? They're not going to bank on it again. And I also don't even know if they really like need more people or want more people. Like I'm sure they want them, but like not big enough to where they're really willing to go do this, because they already have a big army that Buggy got them from Impel Down. So having Weevil be the epicenter of it, and like when, for example, like Marco or the Whitebeard pirates go and try to steal Weevil, then Croc getting out as a result of that, or Doflamingo getting out as a result of that, I think that makes a lot more sense. And then he would just probably, find his way to the Cross Guild or whatever, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, and Doflamingo would be a big help to the Cross Guild as well, because he has all those underworld connections. Because Crocodile and Mihawk talked about how they wanted power and wealth, and how they need more of it. And I was like, yo, like, as far as the wealth goes, Doflamingo, man, he was rich. Not only is he a king, but like he had all those underworld, like black market connections. So teaming up with Doflamingo would just make a lot of sense.
That's such a smart, like, I'm so glad you said that, because like Doflamingo joining makes sense for the Warlord thing, but I never really thought about like, what are they going to leverage? Like, what is Doflamingo bringing to the table other than being strong? And,
yeah.
like, he could say, like, he could talk about the national treasure of Mariejois, maybe, or, like, some other kind of secrets with the celestial dragons. But the underworld connections, that's actually, like, that would be what they use, for sure. That's a great point.
It's, the only reason I brought that up is because I have a video coming out tomorrow about that, and, my argument is that Weevil, Doflamingo, and also Gecko Moria are going to join Cross Guild, because another thing they said is they wanted wealth with Doflamingo, that could be solved, but they also wanted power. They wanted an army. And I was like, yo, like if they're going around killing Marines and, confirming their bodies, Gecko Moria could just bring him back to life and give them a zombie army. Like having Gecko Moria on your team is huge.
T-Bone Zombie?
Yeah, T-Bone Zombie, which is kind of funny because he's already kind of like a zombie, but yeah.
And part of me thinks T-Bone isn't actually dead, but,
I hope not. I mean, T-Bone's such a great guy. Like, if you're going to kill T-Bone, on-screen it, Like let me see that guy's final moments. Give him a good send-off.
And when they go and get the money, like, bring the body to prove it. Like, they just kind of, like, I think they said that, like, they had someone else confirm it who was, like, at the island or something, but that's not enough for me.
It's not enough, like, because T-Bone already looks dead.
Exactly. Like, you could just take a picture of him sleeping, and that's probably what they did, and it'll look like he actually died.
It's probably why the old guy was like kind of shivering, because he was like, "Oh God, they're gonna find out."
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like I think that the Cross Guild is probably gonna have like one major Marine kill, like, confirmed, and I bet it's gonna be Garp. Like they're gonna get Garp. Like they're gonna trade the money for Garp, like the 3 billion. And then have like a big execution so everyone in the world gets scared of the Cross Guild, because like that makes them feel very legit. Like, oh my God, they killed Garp. They could definitely get me then. Oh, I might just quit being a Marine at this point. That's like too scary.
Send a message to the world.
Yeah, like all they need is one big kill to really make that happen. So I think that's what Garp is going to end up being, is like the sign of like, like, these pirates are really dangerous kind of thing.
I think the hard part with that is just like Buggy and Blackbeard's relationship, because they didn't get along as kids. I don't know how they'd get along today,
Oh, yeah. You mean like for Blackbeard coming and exchanging it for the money?
Yeah, like would Buggy be like, oh, yeah, Blackbeard, of course. Yeah, here's your money, man.
I think it would be a thing where it's a deal's a deal.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought... Yeah, and I think what would probably happen is, I think Blackbeard is probably going to get the Seraphim under his control. At least that's like one of my big headcanons. We'll see. But if he gets S-Bat or S-Gecko, whatever his name is, so he has the shadow powers, I bet he's going to take Garp's shadow first, and then go at nighttime and take Garp to Buggy, so that it's like,
ooh.
So like it's like not as good of a version of him. You know what I mean? They already got the shadow. So
yeah.
That way like Moria can't take it. And then maybe whenever sunrise happens and they start like they're getting ready to execute Garp, maybe the sun rises and just kills him, or like that's how he dies.
That'd be
like
crazy, considering Luffy's the sun god. So like the symbolism of that would be insane.
Exactly. And it would be cool because like Garp could have like his final say, like as he's like disintegrating, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it would be like this world, blah blah blah, like it, you know. But the thing there is like then Blackbeard would lose Garp's shadow that he probably wanted to use. So maybe it could be a thing where like they set Garp out for the execution. They see that the sun is starting to like make him disintegrate, so they pull him back into the shade and are like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, I got my shadow taken. And they're like, oh my god. And so maybe then Garp is like missing an arm then at that point because the sun just vaporizes part of him. That's like another angle I could see.
Man.
It would still scare the world too because like
Oh yeah.
they see him, you know, disintegrating. But
Dang, even if this doesn't, like, even if anything and everything we say here doesn't come true, it does make me wish that a what if piece existed. You know, like Marvel does that, like the what if Marvel stories. I wish we had like a what if One Piece stories.
that might be what Oda does once it's over.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
hand
Like,
that. You can easily hand that off to an assistant too. You know.
yeah. For me, I think the one thing that they're gonna do, like no doubt, is once it's over, they're gonna go do movies for like movies or novels or whatever for like big events that we never got to fully see fleshed out. Like for
Yeah.
example, like I think like Roger getting his crewmates, like that to me would be like the ultimate movie, like Roger's journey. It's like a 2-hour movie. You see him meet Rayleigh, meet Gabon, meet all the other people that joined, like some of the adventures, maybe even like a little snippet of God Valley, go over to Lodestar. Well, Lodestar was first, but all that, you know what I mean? Like, I think a movie like that, Whitebeard getting all of his crewmates, I think that's another
It would
thing,
help
like
flesh out
finding
the
all of his
universe.
sons. Yeah. And those are the types of things that are like, they're not like the exact kind of what ifs like you're talking about, but it's kind of like those like, we don't need that information to keep moving forward, but it'd be really dang cool to get that, you know, and
Yeah.
like make the universe feel more filled out. And so I think that's definitely what they're going to do. But I mean, what ifs, like I could see that too, where it's like just like a fun novel like where Luffy's a Marine or something, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, because Oda did draw he drew like a little snippet of Luffy, Sabo, and Ace all as Marines, and Garp's training them, and I was like, yo, that's wholesome. We need that, dude.
Yeah,
We need that in the world.
for sure.
But you know what else? You know what else the world needs?
What's that?
You to go
more-
back to
more
your
celestial
job and
dragons?
get some food
Oh.
and celestial dragons.
Yep, more celestial dragons is what you meant, but
Yeah.
but I do need to go get some food and get ready for this work meeting. So
Yeah, good luck, man. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. You guys know where to check out Dax. He's going to be linked down below as always. And yeah, any final thoughts you want to leave out on?
yeah, I mean, it was another great discussion, man. Thank you for inviting me as always. It's always awesome getting on here and talking to you. And you know, like, at least for me, I know the comments were pretty positive on the one we did on my channel too. So we're definitely going to do this again. So I just want to say thank you. And obviously you have the channel in the description, but I did just drop like 1 hour and 18-minute video about the Void Century. Pretty much, you know, flood talk, ancient weapon talk, the blueprints from Ennie's lobby talk, just everything. I hinted some of it here. If you want to go check that out, please go check it out. Or go, yeah, I said check it out twice, but who cares?
Hey, they know what you mean.
Yep. It's funny because like I don't know. Sometimes whenever I have my headphones on, it's like I feel like I'm like hearing a different person than myself, and it totally messes up my speech a little bit. But yeah, man, it was great as always, and we're gonna do it again. And yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Everyone watching, thank you for if you're here all the way to the end. That's amazing. Thank you, and like the video.